spell would be summon waffles.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Or summon pancakes.
Bless your waffles. Like, just waffles from different planes just randomly appear.
Oh, now you give me the notification, Twitch.
Well, I've actually, unveiled everything. So yeah, of course. They can also hear you.
Yeah,
so-
but you were already live.
I know. I was live 2 minutes ago. I've been streaming for
It
2
said
minutes
that
and
you were
29
live
seconds.
for six seconds ago.
Yeah, it's good. Close enough. I don't mind. It's good enough for me. Alright, let's stop this music. Alright. Hello and welcome to Crabby D&D. I'm here with my players, Jamie.
Hi.
There we go. New Jamie.
Hello.
Sudz.
Hello.
Infernal.
Hello.
Harlan if he's returned. He's not muted.
That is a negative.
That is a negative. And Simon. Oh no.
That is also a
It's
negative.
also a negative. Oh no. Okay, you're without the strong one and the handsome one, I'm afraid.
It's okay.
We
We'll
got K.
manage.
That's going to make a lot of things a lot more difficult.
I don't know, you'll be
Look.
fine.
I will be the
Okay.
strong one for us.
Kay has a carrot now, so we
Yeah, it's
automatically win.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry about it. Yes. So, I guess we will have a Simon and a Harlan in just a mo when they return. Or unmute, depending on if they were muted. Who knows? Oh, I had a Harlan return. Did I? Or am I mistaken?
That might have been me muting my mic.
Interesting, makes it click now. Okay, either way. No, very professional. That is the sound of Simon returning.
It is indeed. We are very professional.
Yep.
I think Harlan
Welcome.
is returning as well. I saw his mic flash.
Ah, we have a Harlan as well.
Oh, I
Are
win.
you ready,
Excellent.
kids?
Aye, aye, Captain.
I
You
can't
were
hear
not.
Why not? Did you roll too low on your perception check?
you. No, I've gone temporarily deaf.
I see. Right. Well, with that out of the way and everybody introduced, shall we begin?
Aye, aye, Captain.
Good.
Oh!
Where were we? Oh, I remember now. Last session, your band of newly found companions, Cat, Damian, Kay, Lloyd, Romulus, and Vinny, had each independently, for their own goals and reasons, made their way to the hospice of the Winged Dancer, where upon arrival were witnesses and interceptors of the attack of two stringy green oozes, who happened to be nestled within a wrapped, rotting corpse that was being loaded for disposal. The smell of decay and the squelching squishes drew the party to action in defense of the two corpse carriers who were beset by such mindless cruelty. With the successful protection of the civilians, but at the cost of some severe damage to Vinny's arm, they prevailed, learning a thing or two about carrots on the way. Seeking an audience within with the head abbot Vincent Cunningway, through their Plague Knight associates, the group stands in the presence of two other figures, a Professor Janus, a human male set in his early 40s with slicked back black hair, and a variety of nails on display across his belt, as is typical of a professor of the order, and an orange dragonborn by the name of Alistair, a huntsman within the Cataloguers Guild, gathering various pieces of information and still asking a few requests and questions. You all set in motion the plan to uproot whatever may have been causing all of this, with the suggestion of checking out the damp and rather rank old sewers. Standing within the office of the head abbot, the sunlight peeking in from two small windows at the height of the room, just below the ceiling, and a few
and a few small bookcases and desks otherwise decorate the room around you and are riddled with various implements, trinkets, and tomes of various kinds, each emitting a smell of age and dust, yet appear well kept and used. To the back right end of the room is a desk where stacks of various papers lurk within arm's reach of one Professor Janus. And looking over the map in the centre of the room on a table, while the head abbot is otherwise away collecting things, is Alistair. The head abbot returns from his collection trip carrying a bundle of papers in a small folder. Each piece is otherwise lightly crinkled at the edges with various bits of use. Yet as he places the folder on the table in front of you, Cat, the pages are not yellowed with age, suggesting recent and often use despite being recently made documents. There you go, Cat. Let you look through these particular documents, and I will leave you to investigate it. Please do not remove them from the premises, but you're welcome to otherwise look through them at your own leisure, and should you need any more information, you're welcome to do so.
Thanks. I will have a look through these. Does no one else want to have a look with, or just me? Cool. I'll look through them then.
Okay. I will send that to you now. As for the rest of you, what are you doing in this instance?
Have we been presented with a map yet?
Do you wish to step forward and have a look at the map in the center of the room?
Yes.
Okay.
I am curious. I need to know where to begin my search.
Okay. This is the map within the center of the room. As you otherwise take a look at it, you note that there are a number of different markers that are actually on the map itself. Red markers, as were previously mentioned, denote attacks, while the yellow markers do not seem to have any purpose to your current knowledge.
Question.
Yes?
What are the yellow ones?
The yellow markers are buildings that have been burned down by the Plague Knights, ones that were too heavily infected to warrant termination and retention of such structures.
What kinds of buildings were there?
Most of them were residential. I know that one used to be an old distillery, which was otherwise mostly mostly in disuse at the time. But it was also in refurbishment from what I understand.
What's is there like the left and right side of the city? Is it a different kind of split or?
Yes. The left side, as you can see, is more the original town, the city start, as many call it. It is the first settlement that was set in place before palisades were put up, and more refined building structures and blocks were put in place when the town began to expand. Outside the city is otherwise the expanse of the sprawls at the moment, but I believe there were plans to expand at a later time, building more refurbished stone walls once we have the materials. This is just a problem, shall we say, with what's going on.
What I can see, they're kind of sticking to the left side. Will they soon expanding?
Could be part of the quarantine?
That's what we thought at first as well, but we've had a few odd attacks here and there. This one, in reference, is the one which I was informed of the other day that happened yesterday. I believe this was where you two mentioned that you were attacked, pointing to
Yes.
Lloyd and Damian.
Yes, that would be the attack on us.
Whereas we also had an attack the day before, which was outside the city, as one of you was gesturing to. This one here, we don't entirely know how that one happened, and it's very out of the ordinary and further afield. That's why the Plague Knights started to expand their search to outside the city to make sure there wasn't any outer intrusion, potentially something to do with the Cataloguers.
Mm.
I'm trying to get my bearings here. I think I've understood where we are currently. We're in the big circular building in the middle.
No,
we're up
you
here.
are
Okay.
here. So for reference, you are here, and for Kay and Vinny, you came from the stockyard down here, and you otherwise walked up the main street, went round the town hall, and then came along this road.
Okay.
Whereas for everyone else, you came from the Serving Giant Inn, and you went this way and then came down.
What is this part of the city?
That's the newer part of the city that was recently being built, or which has recently been built, where the city has begun to expand.
Mm-hmm.
And this out here is where they keep the poor people.
No, it's where they have the overflow, because not everybody has a home inside of Trenlaw's Rest as it currently stands. So people
Seems
started
like-
building their homes outside, where more people kept coming in.
And eventually it'll get, walled in and
Yeah.
all that shit.
Yeah, once they get round to building.
of the sewers?
Hmm?
Is there any map of the sewer lines?
Not to my knowledge personally. Construction never really was my forte. It might have been, those kind of documents might be in the mayor's possession if he still retains them, but seeing as they were made redundant a number of years ago, they're mostly lost to us.
If you can put in a request, those might be useful. If they're
It's
still around.
It's doable. I can try and get in contact with the mayor to see if he'd be able to, but from what I understand, he's secluded himself mostly to his own home. With everything that's been going on, and with us now taking a bit more charge, and with Professor Janice's presence here as of 3 weeks ago, he's settled back in isolation for some time. I don't know if he's been working at all, but he hasn't made his presence known at the very least.
Not very good as an authority figure. Sort of disappear in the height of the crisis.
True, but he also lives within the portion of the city start, and given it's also in quarantine, there's not much he can do.
That's not too far from where we're staying. Maybe we could pay a visit once we've slept tonight.
Were you able to access the document okay, Jamie?
Yeah, I'm breaking it down now.
Okay.
See.
Oh.
Okay.
Got some guard
Right.
towers at the entrances?
Yes. Guard towers and fire towers. Making sure that if there is a fire in the city there,
Oh, yes.
it's well known
Like
about.
this one in just opposite our
Yes.
inn that I somehow did not see despite the fact we walked straight past it.
You would have seen it on the way
We're
past. It just
remarkably
wasn't.
unobservant.
I imagine your friend there saw it, though. But no, mostly guard towers kept by the flame keepers within Trenlaw's Rest, but also making sure to keep control of the fire in certain areas. There aren't many present in the city start as it stands, but there are garrisons at each end or each entrance to the city or to the town itself.
Oh, yeah.
I forget precisely where Romulus is in all this.
Standing in the room.
Okay.
Probably
In that
watching Kat as she otherwise looks over the documents. Which, notably, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them.
What documents were those again, sir?
Medical reports,
Ah.
essentially, of the original outbreak. I can give you a quick breakdown if you want from what I've worked out.
I would appreciate that.
Okay, so there were a grand total of 8 to start with. One survived, and the one that survived had only a temporary paralysis, And the only thing that was different in regards to further symptoms was this one didn't suffer from delirium or hallucinations. Also, in additional information, there's 2 children where it did start to regress. The rashes started to regress. One died, they believe, of cardiac arrest because it didn't come out of their paralysis. But the other child did. They come out of their paralysis, it regressed after 2 days, and that's the one child that survived.
Where did the child go after that?
I'm assuming home.
Where is home?
If you're looking for Elia's home, I believe Tracy knows its whereabouts a bit better than I do. I'm more the keeper of the records and I oversee a lot of this stuff, and in the initial outbreak, she is the one who manages a lot of this.
If we can find the exact origin point, it's possible that it's something that's been spreading from those that have recovered.
That's the
Or-
other thing. The initial site of symptoms.
Mm,
There is the wrist, the hand, the forearm, the wrist, the hand, the wrist. They touched something by process of elimination
right.
out there. So I can only assume that they must have found something and touched it. And that was where it has started.
Couldn't have been one of those oozes, though, could it? Because that was a more recent development.
It was a more recent one. Whether it wasn't so recent on the outskirts, because it was outside the city grounds, wasn't it? I believe. Where they were.
We're in what reference, sorry?
When they first contracted, or when they were first out.
Yes, from what I remember being initially mentioned is that they were outside the city playing, just out in a slightly, not too far north of the city, just past the guard tower. They were otherwise playing out there, and then they came back, and a couple of days later, some of them were brought in with symptoms. The early signs of a rash, and because, well, 2 children from the same family caught it, it was a sudden brought them here. Their friends and family otherwise came too, and there were a few that were later, for different reasons.
But otherwise, initial symptoms are all rashes. There was no notes of any breaking of the skin or anything along them lines. So, and it was all on hands and extremities.
Nothing of the sort. I didn't find any wounds on them, no scratches, no marks, no breaking of skin, like you say, but Tracy was the one who handled that more. She'd know more details, more specifically about them, but outside of that, there was no reported injuries. Whether it was just overlooked between the early cases or not, we haven't found a common cause between the breaking of skin at all, between any further contractions of the hundreds who have contracted since.
Reasonably, the slimes could be correlating but not the direct cause of the illness. It's possible they simply have the same source. What could these people have been touching that would have caused the rashes and illness?
That's kind of what would be a good thing to locate. If we could find the source or the original, maybe there was a tomb, crypt, cave, something where something was that they come across, and then maybe we can then backtrack from that.
Where were the first victims found?
The north.
Yeah, if
Just
we can
above.
get that. What was her name?
Elia, that's it.
Hell yeah.
Elia. If we can get her to tell us where they were playing and what exactly they were touching, we could be able to find it.
Yeah, I don't want to delve too much in regards to questioning her, or him,
Child.
them. Yes. Just
Of course,
because
from a safe distance.
it's going to be difficult. But
Well, we're concerned about the mental well-being of the child,
Mhm.
not getting ill.
no.
Although
So
we should be concerned about getting ill also.
that is true. Okay. Okay.
This tells us nothing about the oozes, though. Did I hear somebody mention that they eat corpses or something like that?
They absorb the person that they enveloped when they attacked us.
And they were living inside those corpses that we encountered.
Mm,
Given that they came here after the outbreak had already started, is it possible that they were just attracted to all of the death then?
It's plausible. It would make sense. Maybe these are two completely different entities. The disease is one thing, and then they were attracted. I mean, it would make sense, especially if they need dead or flesh or dead biomass to survive. The amount of deaths here would be a massive beacon to them.
Sealed sewers does seem like an enticing possibility. Perhaps the whatever the illness was, the children managed to play somewhere where the sealed sewers were leaking. That caused the illness, and something about the illness or from inside the sewers ended up bringing the slimes out.
The way I look at it at the moment, I think we have two possible leads. One is the location where the children were playing for the virus/disease, and the sewer for the potential of virus/disease and slimes. It's which one do we
It's
prioritize?
possible.
I think the first thing we do is talk to the child.
Well, yes.
Oh, one question while we're here. You said the east part of the city is newer, right?
That is correct, yes.
If the sewers have been out of use for a while now,
Mm-hmm.
is that area connected up?
I believe ever so slightly. The design changed. It's been a long time since I was talking about this. The most I know is that the sewers were put out of use. Ever since Lord Bevots and the invention of the convenience crystal came into play about 10 years ago, this use of the sewers was put out. Well, the use of the sewers was done away with within about 2 years of that taking place. It's not been in use for the past 8 years. I don't know why they would still connect stuff up to the sewer if it was in the newer section of the town, but I can't say for sure. I know that on my ganders I believe I've seen a drain of some form. Or an access port, I don't entirely know, but there is something.
Would explain the less amount of attacks there.
If they're hiding in the sewer, it would explain where they're coming from all of a sudden. All the same, though, that doesn't help us if we can't find the source of the disease.
Well, we should
So I
start
think
with one thing, either the disease or the oozes, and then see if that leads us to the other.
Okay.
Would you still like me to put in that request with the mayor to acquire the documents regarding the old sewer system if he still retains them? They might just be in the town hall and you might be able to get them on request, but I don't know if that would be the case.
Where's the town hall?
It'd be quite useful. Gives us something
Yeah,
to
there's
look at.
nothing bad in making it.
Hmm. At least we won't be going in there blind then, potentially.
That's true.
Have a rough idea.
Yeah, I was considering going to the mayor myself and seeing if I can get his word to help get such a thing.
That sort of thing would be doable. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you said that you had an association with the Plague Knights to a certain degree? Just looking around the group.
We've met up with them.
Right.
Yeah,
Or
we've
one.
spoken
once.
with them.
Do you need further approval of leaving the quarantined area now that you're in here, given the encounter? If that's the case, I'll have Tracy and Lizette do a full body inspection of each of you and send you on your way. But if you're with the Plague Knights, you might be able to move on otherwise.
Lloyd and myself were coming up here to be checked out anyway after our encounter yesterday.
Right.
And Vinny also came into contact with the news and the fight outside, so probably a good idea to check on him despite our treatment.
But the rest of you haven't come into contact at all.
I haven't been anywhere near, so.
Right?
Neither have I. But
I was fighting one of them.
Right.
Very up close.
Same, but I got enveloped.
Right. In which...
But I believe one of the Plague Knights asked for our assistance, gesturing to Vinny. So I think we should be good to walk around.
Right, well, very well. It'd be best if we otherwise inspect the wounds for Vinny and... what was your name, sir? Or madam? Looking at you,
Me?
Kay. Yeah.
Kay.
Just Kay?
Yeah.
That'll be easy to
Just
remember.
Kay.
Is it alright if we do a inspection of these sites, just to make sure there's no early warning sign of this infection beginning to spread?
Sure. This is gonna be awkward.
Any objections,
I don't
Vinny?
say that.
It's fine by me.
Very
I
well.
assume your people know what they're doing.
Yes. I'll have Tracy or Lizette otherwise have a look over you, and I'll get back to writing up a few bits and pieces. I'll get the letter to the mayor sent out, and I'll let you know that your group is on the way. And I'll have that sent over immediately.
Okay.
If we could get that note to go and see Elia, that would be also useful.
Right. I'll get on writing that as well. You have your inspections while I write up that letter first, then I'll handle the one to the mayor.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
So is the inspections the next thing that's happening?
Inspections, and then he'll write up the letter, and he's going to then pass you the letter to Elia, or to speak with
Okay,
Elia.
So we'll see him again in a second.
Yeah, we'll see him again in just a moment.
That's cool.
Okay. You otherwise exit the chamber, otherwise heading back out into the main hospice. You can see the stone floor of this otherwise open expanse, which is otherwise coated with the various beds, the tables that are put in place that are set up for a makeshift kitchen to one side, and the stairwell, or the wide stairwell that leads down into the storage area below, where you were watching the individuals, the two corpse carriers, bringing out the dead and putting them on the back of the cart. As you otherwise wait there, Tracy otherwise kind of wanders over. How did it all go?
Pretty well, I think.
Right.
Some useful information.
Good.
Have a vague plan.
Good. Were you still offering your assistance to help with dealing with the corpses before you moved on?
I'm still happy to help if you're short-handed. I believe I'm supposed to get checked up first, though.
Of course, I'll get something sorted. Were any of the rest of you as part of that needed?
Yes, same here. I think Lloyd too.
Yeah.
So. Okay.
I mean, we're supposed to get checked, but I wasn't anywhere near it.
It's always better safe than sorry. Okay. They otherwise go about various checks. You watch as she otherwise puts on kind of a set of slightly spongy gloves, and otherwise puts them on both sides, otherwise puts a mask over her face just in case, and otherwise goes about checking the various sites. For you, Vinny, where she otherwise takes your arm and begins to kind of check the wounds itself, dresses them regardless, as there was still damage and breakage of your skin, and your arm still feels a little bit tense and a little bit stinging. It's recovered, mostly, given the healing that was otherwise put into it, but still dresses it with kind of a light bandage and otherwise checks it over. Nothing of particular notice of rash, and any signs of immediate infection or inflammation are actually dumbed down thanks to the lay on hands points that were pumped into your arm thanks to Damian's action. Damian and Lloyd, as you two are checked over, based on probably more your hands, your feet. On that basis, given that you weren't in any physical contact, but you were still, in Damian's case, using weapons, and in Lloyd's just as an extra check over, you were given a general kind of sweep check over for any rashes, and there doesn't seem to be anything which catches their attention. Whereas for Kay, in this instance, while the rest of you are otherwise probably elsewhere, and Kay, you're being inspected.
I
taking
try
off.
to warn her ahead of time that
Okay.
I am different.
Okay. She takes off your boots, and seeing the feet, otherwise goes about giving them a check over as best she can, but not entirely sure on what is supposed to be and what isn't. Pretty good medicine. She gives it a look over and is fairly certain that there wasn't any infection. However, you are handed new boots, which are more like slippers. They aren't going to be as useful going into the sewers to prevent, leakage, but they're better than ooze-filled boots.
Yeah.
You can acquire some more boots elsewhere if you wish to before going into the sewers. Same would go for the rest of you if there's anything you wish to otherwise acquire.
Most likely will.
But in this instance, you're otherwise handed a set of basic flip-flop slippers.
Rip boots.
Yep.
I only knew you for a short time, but you're gone.
Okay. Other than that, you are all clear, it would seem. No signs of immediate infection. However, they do, as you're all kind of gathered back together, and as the head abbot otherwise comes out, Tracy kind of says in the last bit to the rest of you, make sure to keep inspecting yourselves and give yourself a full look over each day. Make sure that there's nothing that stands out. And if there's any oddities or sign of infection or redness or rash at all, or you feel uncomfortable or beginning to set in with a fever, make sure that you immediately come back to here. If you're out of town and you think you're okay, you need to come back. We've had a few individuals and instances otherwise. And kind of glances around the room where you see that the few plague knights who are helping are busy working, but she gives them a cursory glance, as most of you would notice, given the insight of everybody, except for Kat. Most of you notice her general cursory glance of the plague knights before kind of letting you back with the head abbot.
Oh, question.
Mm-hmm.
What signs of redness are considered abnormal?
Have you got inspiration?
No, I do not.
Have inspiration. It took me a second, but I got it. She stops and pauses, almost ready to answer the question before looking back, and just gives a smile and goes, "You'll know," before going back to doing whatever her work may be, brightening up her day. Okay. The head abbot otherwise comes back out. He wanders over and otherwise passes a letter to... Who takes it?
Which letter is this one?
The one to Elia. The other one he's sending via Magpie to the mayor.
I'll take the one for Elia then.
Okay. He passes that one to you. Give this one to Elia's mother, and she will otherwise take it from there.
Okay. Thank you.
He otherwise kind of turns. I wish you all good luck in your endeavours. Do take care of yourselves.
Abbott, before you go,
Yes?
can I have a quick conversation with you in private, if possible?
Oh, of course. Please do. Yes. Kind of looks around the rest of you. Are you meeting anywhere, or?
I think we're probably going to discuss how we're going to progress now. One key thing is, where does Elia live?
Ask Tracy. She'll know more about it.
Okay.
Hearing her name, she kind of turns her head and just wanders back over. Okay. Okay. Damian, as you and the head abbot otherwise head into the office, did you want everyone to move to standby, or did you just want them to mute up?
Probably just mute up. I think that'd be absolutely fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. If everyone could mute up for me then, please. Okay.
One person does it.
Yeah, well. The rest of them have their own mute ways. Stepping back into the office, the head abbot otherwise kind of wanders back over to the table. How can I help you? Sir Damian, would it be?
Yes, Sir Damian of the Order of the Crest.
Yes.
I wish to, if you have the materials to do so, write a couple of letters.
Oh, of course, of course. Would these be official documents in the need of wax and a candle, or unofficial documents?
Both will be official documents.
Very well. I will acquire those for you post-haste. He wanders off to one of the side rooms, returns, otherwise places on the front of one of the writing desks the what looks to be a few pieces of rather nice parchment, along with what looks to be a small tub of kind of broken down red wax, and what looks to be a few small candles, as he otherwise kind of goes over and takes a light and just lights it. Would that be all? And are you looking for me to send these as well?
If possible, please. And once I've written them, may I ask you a question about something that one of the plague knights at the gate mentioned to me?
Of course, of course. Okay. You write up the letters, kind of writing down the details in the best cursive that you can in this regard. A little bit of haste involved, but otherwise written with due diligence, and otherwise written down. You take the wax, you melt it with, or a portion of the wax, you melt it over the candle and pour it over the otherwise wrapped twine around the piece of paper before taking out your signet ring and stamping it across the top of the sealed wax. You hand the letters off, and he otherwise prepares and attaches them in small cases to magpies in their enclosures before sending them off out the window, along with one other which you imagine is probably to the mayor. You had one further question, you said?
Yes, one of the guards outside mentioned that a group of knights were on their way down from Paloon. I assume some of my colleagues from my orders. I was wondering if perhaps you knew anything about them and what their purpose might be?
From what I understand, it was a few members of the Order of Silver, or the Argent Order, who were otherwise coming down to help with the maintaining and containing the infection and otherwise suppressing it. They were to be arriving with the ingredients. I believe your friend Vinny and Kay were bringing the ingredients from what was mentioned during your conversations. They should be in the city as we speak. I can't say I know any of their names. They're yet to arrive. They're probably handling something at the moment or taking care of a few bits and pieces.
You believe they may already be in today? They may have only been a day away when I came in.
Yes, they should have been arriving with the supplies when they were traveling through Paloon, unless they've been delayed, of course. But
Would you know where they would be likely to perhaps stay or go to immediately?
if they are following the for what the Plague Knights have been doing, they would be in one of the few taverns or inns around town. They may potentially be coming to the hospice soon, sooner rather than later, anyway. Otherwise, I imagine they'll either be staying at the Serving Giant, the one in the near the centre of town, as that is the largest one for this sort of ordeal, or they'd be staying in one of the barracks that belong to the flame keepers. There isn't as such a order house within Trenlaw's Rest, but there are flamekeeper garrisons on each of the doorways, so I imagine they may be staying there if anywhere.
I'll obviously find out if they're potentially staying at the inn when I return later today, or whenever that may be. If they do visit the hospice, could you just let them know that Sir Damian is staying at the Serving Giant and would be interested in talking to them?
I can pass on the word, yes. Yes. By all means. And thank you for doing this. Please extend my thanks to the rest of your friends, or acquaintances, whatever the situation may be. It's been difficult, but I'm glad it's being taken care of. Well, that someone's looking into it.
It's absolutely fine. No problem, Head. And thank you for your time and your materials and sending these letters for me. Thank you.
By all means. Otherwise, there's a light nodding bow before you are relinquished and allowed back to the rest of your party. The rest of you, who are outside during this time while he is otherwise discussing, Tracy otherwise wanders over to all of you with the mention of her name. No?
Yeah.
No, none of you saying anything to her?
Oh, muted.
I'm-
Hello.
Yeah.
Is that what you say to Tracy? You say potato?
Potato.
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 What?
Food? Nothing. Just.
Planning dinner.
Looks
no.
like dinner's gonna be normal for once. Excellent. So,
With rat foie gras.
I hate you sometimes. Elia's address. Where does she live? The child live.
She is otherwise. She lives in one of the newer houses. Not in the newer side of town. Still in the city start. I believe it was by one of the more recently burned buildings that the Plague Knights had otherwise handled. If you head south of here, before you reach the wall, there should be a house which is next to a burnt building. I can't remember I can't quite remember whether it was next to the brewery or whether it was in a small clump of houses. I know that it was near some trees.
Hey. Right, well, that gives us a rough area anyway. Would the knights in the area, if there are knights in the area, know?
They'll know which ones was a more recent burning. I imagine they probably keep note of that, but outside of that I can't say for certain if they'd know where she resides, given that she was an early victim of this, and I know that her and her mother have since recovered. Well, physically anyway.
Okay. Alright. Well, thank you for that, and we will head over there. Vinny, you were going to come with me, were you not?
Yeah, I thought that might be a good idea, although I do seem to have double booked myself.
Oh.
Will your knights mind waiting a few moments?
Ah.
I could always go. I'm very charismatic.
Romulus, I don't think that would be a good idea, especially if you start getting upset and pull out a rat handkerchief.
I promise
Could
not
get
to.
weird.
I promise not to talk about any of my recycling.
It's not so much the recycling; it's this, just sort of like How to Train Your Dragon hiccup moment. All of this.
You gestured to
You
all
just
of me.
gestured to all of me. Exactly. Right. Well. Anyone
Maybe-
other than Vinny like to go and say hello?
Maybe someone that's not gonna, terrify the kid more than the kids are already terrified.
I'm told I am quite cuddly.
I
Apparently,
would
this is
probably
calming.
terrify the child.
So basically, you're saying it's probably the person who hasn't. Have I actually arrived back yet in this conversation?
Not
Alright,
quite
you know
yet. You're
what, let's
still
get
to
Pretty
run
Boy
this.
number 2 to do this.
And the person with eyes is busy IRL briefly at the moment. Just to let you know.
Oh, okay.
That's why he's muted.
Yay. Also, the person with eyes could be a bit
Intimidating.
intimidating and scary.
What? No.
So, yeah, okay. So, one of the two pretty boys then. Pretty party.
Alright, so Pretty Boy the blonde shall be the one going with you to the child. He seems very non-threatening. Pretty
What?
Boy the red, you'll be doing guard night things. Is that correct?
They
Body
wanted help.
hauling.
Yes. They just need as many hands on deck as they can
now,
get, I believe.
here's where it gets complicated. What am I doing?
Oh, you could quite easily body haul.
You're right. I'll go and do that.
Might get some more materials.
I go as quickly as possible because I don't want Cat to remember that Cat forbid me from doing any body hauling because of my
Okay.
recycling proclivities.
Okay. Quickly going over and putting on kind of finding a set of large leather mitts and trying to go, okay, what can I use for this? You kind of go over, you try to find a set of gloves which work. There aren't really any for your size. You just take 2 aprons and wrap them around your fists. And then you just put an apron on over the top and you're just like, yeah, that'll do.
No, don't worry, I brought my own. I bring out my own. Oh god, what horrific thing am I going to do now?
Romulus, be on your best behaviour. Just gonna shout out over to
I'll
him.
wear my best apron. You just see an apron that has just skins of a lot of lizards.
Just gonna turn round, like, I apologise for him.
The scales make it easy to wash.
Again, I apologise for him. It doesn't get any easier. He's a hard worker, but
Just all the All the blood and guts and gore just slide right off. Bit of water and a damp cloth, and you're good to go.
Okay.
Okay, I don't think this is actually canon, but it's funny. Right, moving on. I grab aprons and go and do the thing.
Okay. You grab aprons, you go and begin to body haul. Vinny, you're doing the same?
Okay, what are you planning to do?
Was planning to speak to Mayor.
Okay. Yeah, it works.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. And for the purposes of Infernal not being here, I'll say he's going with you. So that way we've got two in each group.
Fair.
Okay. Damian, you otherwise exit the office, seeing the rest of your party has otherwise broken up into teams. You can see that Kay and Lloyd are missing, while Vinny and Romulus are currently hauling bodies and seem to be moving. Well, actually, no, you can't see that from where they currently are, but you presume they're off doing something else. And you see Kat otherwise kind of just standing there patiently waiting, holding the letter and just spinning it in her hands.
I assumed that you're waiting for me?
Ah, yes. Wait for you to come out. We're going to go and see Elia.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that seems fine. Just if you can help it, don't poke me in any eyes.
I don't have any intention of poking in the eyes. They both look like normal functional eyes. Don't worry.
They are at the moment until you poke me there.
I plan to leave them functional
Okay, thank you.
for the time being. You're welcome. But before we head over, what do you think we should ask sensitively? I've got, where were you playing? And was there anything out of the ordinary, i.e. buildings, strange plants, strange creatures? I don't want to delve into asking about her friends and things like that.
It would be prudent to ask. We'll understand this obviously from exactly where they were playing, but if it was anywhere near anybody else as well. So perhaps say if they were, from what I can remember of the map, if they were north of the watchtower, perhaps if they were anywhere near the road and there might have been somebody passing by.
Okay. All right. So we've got 3 questions.
Anything else?
We want to try and keep this sweet and short as
Yes.
possible to reduce the amount of damage that gets done. Yeah. Okay. Right. All right then. Shall we head there? If you think of anything else, let me know.
Do we know whereabouts it may be?
Yeah,
I'm in the office, so.
Yes. South. It's near a burnt building towards the south. It's got the wall. I've got a rough idea.
In that case, I'll let you lead, I suppose. I'll just keep an eye out for anything, just in case any of those slimes reappear.
Oh, I hope not.
It's okay, you got me here. Me and my trusty mason shield.
Okay. Fair. Right. We'll head off in the area that was described.
As you otherwise leave the hospice, otherwise travelling past the various people who are on the beds, the various individuals groaning in pain or being treated with kind of fresh bandages and salves and poultice being put on them. You also, again, see the various individuals who are strapped down, and seeing the symptoms of what you saw the first victims suffered, you imagine that there's probably something of a correlation between being strapped down and hallucinations and delirium. It crosses your mind, and there is a moment of like horror of what is actually going on here, and that a lot of people seem to be dying from this, whatever this is. You otherwise head to the main entrance, and as you otherwise leave, one of the Plague Knights otherwise kind of turns to both of you and just goes, "Ah, you finally got out of there. Right, I've been told that I will be escorting you wherever you're heading. Just wherever you're going, so long as it's not outside the city walls. Your friends are otherwise helping with loading the cart, and we'll be escorting them out as well, taking them outside the city."
Okay. Right. No worries.
Where are we headed?
No, we're heading south.
Right.
Towards the burnt building, around some of the wall. We're heading to Ilya's house. I don't know if you have any idea. I mean, it's a while ago, but yeah,
No
we're heading
idea
that
who
direction.
that is. You said a burned building? One of the ones we've done?
Yes.
I can take you to
Yes.
them. I know exactly where most of them are.
Okay. It's right. Yeah. No, that's cool.
Alright, let's go.
Let him lead the way.
Was there any other information other than it was a burnt building near a wall?
It was one of their most recent ones.
It was
Had
yeah.
to be trees, but I wasn't here.
Kay says from across the city.
I can do these.
So they sent a raven, obviously.
It's a magpie in this society, actually.
It's my
Oh,
familiar.
got it.
Ravens have a significance with death. That's why they're not used as regular messengers.
Also, they're just fucking creepy.
Mhm.
No, they're great, don't get me wrong, but the fact that they can learn to talk is terrifying.
Yeah, then there's magpies, which will bring your letter and then steal your spoon. Yeah.
Fair trade.
What is spoon?
Yeah, I can cope with
Alright,
that.
so... Okay, I will say, starting with Vinny and Romulus, the two of you otherwise kind of heave heave the otherwise wrapped bodies onto the back of the cart, otherwise seeing the partially split and opened one with the smell being absolutely awful. Romulus, you're a little bit more used to it given your history, but for Vinny, this is something which is very off-putting as a sight to see. You otherwise continue to lift and help. I would like both of you to go ahead and roll me an athletics check, please.
All right.
First rolls of the night, we're an hour in. Nice.
I know. We keep up like this, who knows how few we'll do.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
that's a 25.
That is a 12.
Okay. Vinny, for you, it's a little bit of a slower process, but with Romulus's help, there are times where he just kind of holds the feet on one end for you and then just saddles another one over his shoulder, as you're otherwise kind of carrying the bodies out and placing them on the back of the cart. You kind of pass by the two individuals who were the previous corpse carriers, currently sat down. The older man's otherwise kind of sat there, just kind of in the corner, just watching you do what you're doing, while the other one is kind of sat there trying to enjoy a sandwich of some form. But they're otherwise sat there just kind of watching as best they can. You know that they were otherwise exempt from this, but they seem to just be waiting around. Not entirely sure what for, but... Is there anything you'd like to do other than hauling bodies before you're led out of the city?
So, Vinny,
Oh, yeah?
what exactly brought you this way? You said you were guarding a caravan or something.
Yes, we got a job to come down here from the coast. The money was quite good, so the boss was quite eager to take it, though not eager to stick around.
Ah,
But, yeah, we were here to deliver medical supplies.
what, well, I'm glad for you sticking around to help out, but what drew you to stay?
Nothing especially complicated, really. It seemed like the people here needed help.
Fair enough.
I know. I wanted to see if I was capable of providing any.
Well, you seem to be doing an alright job so far.
You seem to be doing pretty well yourself.
Hmm.
Actually, I suppose that begs the question, what are you doing here? Your companion mentioned something about some sort of guild?
Yes, we're currently working for the Cataloguers Guild. Well, to put it simply, we're actually traveling for our own reasons. Minor, just searching for things, and being part of the Cataloguers Guild means that we get paid for finding things along the way. just seemed the smart option.
That's fair enough. What sorts of things?
Well, new creatures, new environments and locations, strange phenomena, and what have you. Anything that can reasonably be catalogued.
Okay.
What are your plans after this?
If they haven't left already, join back up with my caravan. Otherwise, keep moving.
Fair enough.
Speaking of heading south, or maybe east, or maybe southeast.
South is probably where I'm heading. If we come across each other, I'd be not uncomfortable staying in contact.
I would be not uncomfortable staying in contact with you as well.
Now,
You seem like good company, and also useful to have around you on the road.
more the second.
Only because you do seem very, very useful. You're a hunter of some kind, I take it?
Hunter, gatherer, crafter, bit of everything. I think the best description would be I'm a bit of a survivor. Grew up in a tribe. You learn to look after yourself and others. What about yourself? You seem comfortable on the road.
Oh, I've been traveling for quite a while. Most of my adult life, actually.
Out of necessity or out of desire?
No, well, it's complicated. I left home in pursuit of fame and fortune. More of the latter than the former.
Fair enough. And haven't quite found it yet?
I've been working on it, but for now I'm just a humble caravan guard.
Keeping people safe is never humble work.
Well,
Honest and good.
Well, I've benefited a lot from the generosity of other people. I like to give something back when I can.
Fair enough. So many dead. Doesn't get
Yes,
easier.
I'll be honest. I'm glad that we seem to have made some progress in that meeting. From a completely inscrutable illness, now there's some idea that it might have a finite cause. But even supposing we find something, I'm not entirely sure what we're supposed to do about it. I'm not exactly a doctor.
Well, if there's one thing I know, and the Plague Knights agree, you sterilize an area, it will generally stop being an issue. Hence the burnings. If we can find whatever's the cause of this, either sterilize it ourselves or have the Plague Knights do it. Okay, not quite a perfect quote, but acceptable.
It's a reasonable approximation.
Yeah. Damn it, Romulus! I'm a guard, not a doctor. Back in character. we can find whatever's the source of the illness, it's far less likely to spread to more people. And then it's just a matter of either finding a way to cure people or deal with the symptoms until it passes. If the Plague Knights aren't constantly dealing with the attacks from the oozes, they're more likely to be able to help in that regard. Of course, when it boils right down to it, personally, I think I'd just quite like to destroy whatever's done this to all these people.
That's understandable enough. Is it possible that the oozes themselves are spreading the disease?
Possible, but it seems like something that would have been mentioned if they were the initial cause. The oozes could definitely be spreading it, but this Elliot child or one of the others probably would have been able to mention the slimes or the oozes.
I neglected to ask if it sped up significantly once they started showing up.
So
well,
you are
it's
still...
reassuring. Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, you are still both within the hospice still. So,
Right, what else can we really do?
looking around, there doesn't seem to be much else there. Very busy working. You've kind of just finished loading off the last body onto the back of the cart. The two other corpse carriers are kind of sat nearby, just watching as the older one seems to get up and kind of pats himself down and just kind of turns to the other one and just goes, "Right, I'm going to head off home now. Do take care of yourself. I might be back in the next few days to help with loading the next load. Just take care of yourself." The grey-skinned half-orc just goes, "It's fine. If you end up not coming back, it's fine. I got a friend who might be able to call in as extra help, but otherwise,
right.
take care of
You
yourself."
two both okay, by the way?
Yeah,
how are you up?
I'm fine. Didn't get into rough at all. I just made it back into the storage thanks to your friend. Close call for you though. Kind of looks at the older gentleman.
I pulled you out from under slime.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. I'm fine. Bit shaken, but otherwise fine. Just a bit, yes.
Taken off guard.
Yes, that's probably the best way to put it.
Well,
You've been checked over, right?
Yes, I was checked over just before you were all introduced. Well, I believe while you were talking to the head abbot, actually.
Oh, excellent.
Tracy gave me a check over and made sure there were I had no worries. Just a bit of a bruised spine. Bad fall, you see.
can I do a perception check just to make sure this guy is looking completely healthy?
I'll say go ahead and make a perception or medicine check of your choice. DC for medicine will be probably slightly lower, but...
I'll go for the medicine, but I'm not trained.
It's fine.
Uh, 12.
12. Giving him a look over, he does seem to be shaken, whether that's just mental or otherwise. He doesn't seem to be showing any signs of fever or anything. If there was contact, symptoms haven't shown up from what you can generally tell, or he's hiding it very well. Given that he seems shaken mentally, if he is hiding it, he's doing it very well.
All right. Well, take care, and if you can, or if you feel like you need it, I'd suggest having a bit of a rest.
I will, thank you. I'll otherwise put my feet up for a bit and relax. Thank you again.
No worries. Take care.
You too.
I'm not really sure how to go about doing this, but I think I'd be looking to see if there's any other work I can do around the place, even if it's just chopping wood or moving heavy boxes and shit.
In this instance, if Vinny, you don't have anything else you wish to do.
Probably just going to take a look around and see what kind of work is being done here.
Okay. I'd say the two of you seeing what kind of work is being done. You can see that Tracy and Lizette, her protege, are otherwise going around, going to each of the patients and seems to be giving them a general inspection over, same as they did with you. Just viewing your skin in the case of fur or scales, kind of doing a little bit of peeling back to have a look at the skin underneath. And having a general look over each of the individuals, taking careful care, and taking what looks to be kind of this thin, almost metal rod of some kind, and just gently like poking the skin to see if there's a reaction at all. You can see individuals who have kind of heavier bandaging, typically around their wrists, their elbows, or their shoulders and torso. Typically seem to be individuals who are otherwise wrapped up quite heavily, and Tracy and Lizette, are working with the various other Plague Knights as well, are going around and taking off the dressings and otherwise getting new bandages and otherwise draping them through what looks to be kind of this thinner, slightly murky liquid, as they otherwise drape it through and then begin to apply it to the outside. Patients typically kind of squint at the pain, but kind of soon relax a lot more as it seems to having some form of soothing effect of some kind. Others are being handed small packages of something, some form of poultice. For those, I don't think either of you are medically trained, but I'd say, Romulus, given your survival history, you'd understand the basic method you make a poultice. Otherwise, applying that to kind of the fresh portions of skin and holding it to more infected areas. And you can see across those who have had more recent infections that are being dealt with, or individuals who are having dressings put back on, have kind of this thick reddish skin covered in these lumps or boils or sores, which some of them seem to be of a yellowy green tinge, others seems to be kind of a light pale white. Some look far nastier than others, and there seems to be a variety of them covering their body, almost as if some that develop become nastier and nastier as time goes on before it begins to spread to other areas. Outside of that, the only other real things seem to be the making of fruit and veg soups for the most part, and outside of the Plague Knights, who are otherwise they've got their hands full, but they're taking care of it. Guard duties and all of that, before the two of you are asked to accompany the corpse caravan out of town to otherwise be taken to the priestess who is going to be handling the bodies themselves.
Okay. I'm more than willing to help, but we should probably leave some word of where we've gone.
Oh yeah, is Tracy still running?
She's still running the show at the moment, yeah. And you see that Lizette's otherwise kind of rushed off her feet and kind of going around taking care of bits and pieces. You see the other two Plague Knights are otherwise helping out where they can, seemingly more help that was previously taken and to escort the medicines caravan and has now returned.
Right. I'll just let someone who will be around know that, probably Tracy, just let them know that we're going to be doing the caravan, the corpse caravan. Make sure that if any of our companions come back, they are made aware.
Right, I will inform them if they do return and they ask where you are. Thank you again for all that you've done so far and for helping.
No worries.
And you otherwise exit the city. Next in line, do we want to go to Cat and Damian, or do we wish to go to Kay and Lloyd? I know that Infernal, you're back at the moment, so
Yes, I am.
are you likely to be called away suddenly, or?
Phone call.
Okay. No, I mean, are you likely to be called away again at all? Do you know?
No idea.
Okay.
I'm fine now, though.
Any preference on who goes first then?
I can let
I'll
Lloyd
let him go
and Anna
first.
go first,
Okay.
Alright, sure.
just in
Okay.
case.
Okay. Kay and Lloyd, as the two of you are otherwise travelling through the city, or the town, I keep calling it city, it's not, it's a town at the moment, technically.
A metropolis.
You otherwise, no, definitely not. You otherwise exit the hospice, the Plague Knight otherwise there, otherwise kind of guides you to where you're wanting to go, as you are led to the edge of the quarantine, where you are then allowed to roam free.
Ooh, to the mayor.
Okay. Go ahead and roll me a survival check based on what you remember about the map.
Map, map,
Can I
map.
also do that?
Yeah, go ahead. I'd like each of you to make a roll. Let's see how long it takes you. Who knows, you may get lost. You might fall down a well.
Come on, we're not that bad, are we?
Ah,
Okay, this is
two
Lloyd,
natural,
right?
2 natural ones. Yeah, this
Okay,
is Lloyd.
that's a 24 for me. Somehow, not sure how.
7.
Okay.
No. 5.
Okay, Kay, you immediately being let onto the thoroughfare and being with this not Vinny fella with red eyes covering his body, you feel very uncomfortable. And there's almost a moment of like you always have to walk in the back as if trying to avoid line of sight and avoid being watched so you can keep watching him. For that reason alone, you don't do much of the leading in where to go. So Lloyd takes the stand and otherwise goes forward first, otherwise guiding to what he remembers from the map and also on where to naturally go, as you otherwise make your way through the streets to the house of the mayor. Outside of his particular establishment, let's see. Yeah, let's switch to this. Okay. Before you, and otherwise encompassed by an iron bar fence, the grounds to the mayor's house are decorated with a few trees and several small bushes that are covered in what look to be fresh flowers that vary depending on the season. Currently, in summer, they are otherwise bright reds, oranges, and yellows of varying design and pattern. While with a short walkway that otherwise leads up from this front gate to the front of the house and is locked in or locked off access to otherwise the back gardens on either side, thanks to a row of very thick hedge lines on either side. The mayor's house itself is made from what looks to be a fine stone with various metallic decorations dotted around the exterior and front grounds, with a bright red and yellow tiling to the roof that hides several otherwise hides several skylights that bring an iridescence to the interior home. You otherwise stand at the gates, closed, notably. You see what looks to be a guard across the way, currently standing by the front door. Outside of that, no sign of life.
Any guards or anything?
Yeah, the one standing by the front door opposite the main gate.
Ah. We should go ask him to deliver the message. Did you take the letter?
We didn't get a letter. It was sent here via bird.
Ah, right. I missed that part. Guess even I could miss something like that.
Sending interrupts your focus.
Kay's
Yeah.
just gonna stand at the gate because he doesn't know how this works, and is just gonna jump up and down to get this guard's attention. Hey, you! Hey,
Okay.
hey!
A Lloyd face palm.
Okay. I want to say make an unarmed attack, but you're probably gonna miss it. But you know what? I want to see you try. Lloyd?
Am I gonna miss my own face, Chris?
I don't know. Let's find out. Your AC's low enough. You shouldn't.
Why is R not working? Hello?
I don't know. Why is R not working?
There we go.
There we go.
Aw,
I
Easily,
hate myself.
easily enough. Successful facepalm. You now have a red mark on your face in the form of a hand. Or in the form of a hand. Okay. The guard otherwise looks over, seeing the small form jumping up and down and shouting, kind of muffled from the distance, but otherwise still seeing this go on, kind of stops, and otherwise kind of knocks on the door, and you watch as another individual kind of pokes his head out. There's a bit of murmuring between them as one of them kind of walks down the front steps and porch and otherwise makes their way down the front walkway to the gates. Yes, can I help you?
We came to see the mayor.
Have you got an appointment? He's at the moment keeping himself to himself.
Letter
Ish.
was sent ahead of us.
We haven't received no letter or word that you'll be arriving.
Stupid bird.
If it's coming by bird, come back tomorrow morning. You can get more details from us then. The bird should have arrived, and we will have known by then in the morning. From now on, just get lost.
Does it take that long
But the
for a
birds
bird
should
to
have
God.
arrived
get
sooner
here?
than us.
Guard turns around and walks back.
Stupid bird. How does it take that long to get to here from there for a bird? Bird. Yep.
You just see like a one tired pigeon, like panting as it slowly flaps over. Eh.
It's carrying an entire manuscript. Alright.
I thought birds were supposed to be faster.
I'm gonna eat that bird.
What would you like to do now?
I don't know what to do. I had a whole plan, and a stupid bird screwed it up. Damn birds.
What? Did it get
So
lost,
damn
or
edible.
does it go somewhere else before it delivers its letter?
I don't know.
Make me an intelligence check.
Oh God. Nat 20.
Nat 20. You know that from the time that it took you to go from the hospice to here, after all of the orders and everything else that was sent, you suspect the letter hasn't arrived yet because it hasn't been sent yet.
Right.
I'm waiting.
Okay. You're
I
waiting.
think we should wait here, and we'll see the bird arriving.
Okay.
I'm just sitting at the gate, like they're gonna see me sitting there still.
Yeah, let's just maybe stand like a little bit to the side. I'll see the bird when it comes.
Okay.
Let's not get kicked out before it arrives.
Okay.
What is
You
kicked out?
I'll be on the lookout for a bird delivering a message.
okay? Looking for a looking for a bird delivering a message. You otherwise see what. Actually, no. I'll say go ahead and make me a perception check.
I'm looking for a bird to eat.
12.
12. Okay. And Kay, go ahead and roll me. I'll say a survival check. Looking for a bird to eat.
What do you get?
Natural 20 for a total of.
27.
Okay. Lloyd, with your 12, looking around, looking for a bird to otherwise fly in, you don't notice one. You notice several birds flying around, and there's moments where you're caught off guard, and with your eyes kind of peering off in the many different directions, you try to kind of pick up as best you can, trying to see what you can see, but it's not always helping. Nothing seems to be picking up on any birds flying into this particular establishment. Kay, you otherwise standing there for a moment, kind of sat there at the gate, just staring at the guard, and who otherwise seems variously unnerved for a short period of time before just getting to the point of ignoring you. You otherwise smell something. Ooh. You stand up, and it's almost a sour taste. It's like slightly bitter to the air. An intriguing smell, but interesting. Do you wish to follow your nose?
I'm following my nose.
Okay.
I'm not saying a word though. I'm just following.
Do I notice
My
him
nose.
leaving?
Go ahead and make me a stealth check versus the perception check of
Oh, do I need to not make another one?
this would be a separate
No.
one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this will be a separate one. Stealth versus this, because you were looking for birds, and this is just
Yeah.
noticing K leave.
That's a 20.
Yeah, well.
Okay. Okay, you do notice as K otherwise kind of stands up from his stationary perch, and you do note his motion. Before he kind of stands up, just kind of raises his nose to the air, sniffs, and then you watch as he just begins to wander off.
Okay. Okay. Where are you going?
Good. Smell. Go. Follow.
But we need to wait for Bird.
Bird will come. Follow now.
I facepalm again and follow him.
Okay. Do you want to do damage with this one?
13, I hit myself.
Okay, if you want to do a point of damage, you're welcome to do so.
I don't have too many of those, so I will abstain. Thank you
Okay.
very much.
Okay. Faith palming a second time, just narrowly missing an eye on your head. You otherwise follow K. As K, you are otherwise led by a rather intriguing scent and smell. You head round the actual gate, or around the iron bar fence, around the outside of the establishment, heading around almost the northeastern side of it. Patrolling around and otherwise reaching a specific point where you otherwise see what looks to be a tree in place at the edge of the iron fence. And as you otherwise look up, you kind of just stare off into the tree, and you can see what looks to be a otherwise collapsed bird. The bird is otherwise hanging over, almost like a towel does over the edge of a radiator or drying rack, as it hangs over the edge of the branch. And you can see and smell, muddled within its feathers, small green flecks. Squishy flecks. Ones that you recognize.
Oh, great.
What do you smell, little man?
Bird.
Do I see the bird?
Looking
I'm
up,
going in the tree.
Looking up, you can see the bird. It's behind the iron bar fence, but the iron bar fence isn't unscalable. It'll be difficult, but it's possible.
I'm going.
Okay,
Does
go
it
ahead.
seem to have a message on it?
No. The bird itself looks like one of the local birds, but it has collapsed, and in the event of what it looks like, it doesn't look well. You can see what looks to be kind of these small green balls on the surface of it, almost in place or catched on or caught on the feathers. Go ahead and make me an athletics check there, please, Kay.
Athletics.
Give me a second, Kay. I can help us with it. I will use Bless
Okay.
on
Casting.
myself and Kay.
Okay. Casting Bless, you otherwise apply a... How long does that last?
Bless is...
Is it 1 minute or 10 minutes?
I think it's 1 minute.
1 minute, yeah.
1 minute? Oh, it would help if you had your spells written in Infernal. So, you otherwise...
I don't have the duration in, Chris.
Can make that stat every session. Damian does.
I have all of the descriptions, I just didn't have the duration on it.
You otherwise cast Bless, kind of a reddish aura appearing over the front of you, Kay. You otherwise have an additional d4 to add to these checks for the time being. Okay.
I'm gonna need it. Oh, never mind. I
Ooh,
don't need it.
Never mind.
He does not
Wow,
need it.
doing very well this session. Okay. Nimble...
Don't eat it, Kay. Bring it down. I need to check it out.
Okay. Nimbly climbing up, you grab onto one of the bars, kind of pulling yourself up and hooking yourself in such a manner where you otherwise hook both of your legs around the edge of the branch before beginning to swing yourself up, balancing on the branch deftly enough that the bird does not shake free. But you look at it and you can see the bird is still moving.
Is it alive?
Make me a medicine check. You get to add the d4 for this for Bless.
Medicine, that's a 19.
19. You look at it, and for a moment, you've seen the difference between living things and dead things. You've eaten most of them. You give it a glance, and you look at it, and you're like, it looks dead. Yet it's twitching. And as you otherwise kind of almost peel in a little bit closer to get a better look, even through the reddish lenses where you can still see kind of the green difference between it and the actual grey coloration of the bird, you look at it and you can tell that the bird may not be dead, but it's not moving as if it's in control. Almost as if it's being puppeted or in too much pain to do so by itself.
How's it going over there?
Possible, possible slime thing dead. Possible dead. I'm not sure.
Bring it
That's
down
what the
here.
green things remind me of, right? Slime?
Yeah, very much so.
Bring it down.
If I move it, slime might come out. If it's in there. Fine. I will grab the bird.
Hold on. Put it in this blanket. Don't touch it yourself. I hand him my blanket.
Okay, you toss your blanket up. Kay kind of swipes down, catches it, kind of hoists it up. You now have a blanket.
I guess I'm picking up the bird with the blanket.
Okay.
However, one is supposed to do this, because Kay does not know.
Okay.
I just throw the blanket on it and grab where the bird was.
It's gone. Oh no. Okay, you throw the blanket over the top of it, and you kind of wrap your hands around where the bird is. You can feel its form underneath. There's almost this wriggling sensation before it stills and stops. The blanket seems fine.
I bring it down. Let's take this over to the hospice.
Damn it, we're going back there again. Fine. Guess we're going back to the hospice.
Okay.
They need to see this.
Okay. You hop down from the tree and wandering through the streets, carrying a ball in a blanket, as far as you're concerned, or as far as anyone else is concerned. You wander back into the quarantine zone, holding this blanket in a very strange manner, but holding it so. As you otherwise reach the end of the edge of the quarantine, one of the plague knights, who otherwise clocks your approach, kind of just wanders over. Is everything all right? That's you
Found
carrying
this.
We may have found something.
I opened the blanket and show bird.
Okay. Opening up the blanket, you can see on the interior what looks to be a bird, for the most part, of grey coloration with what looks to be smatterings of red and green, otherwise coating the majority of its form, with congealed blobs of green in various locations, which have now kind of receded, so to speak, compared to how they previously were.
I think slime happened to this.
The Plague Knight kind of immediately looks at the two of you. Drop it on the ground. I'll burn it. It'll get rid of it.
I'm not looking to start trouble, so I'm dropping it on the ground.
Okay.
Shouldn't it be taken to get investigated?
Investigated by whom? We know that these things eat corpses, and we know they attack living creatures. We know that they're potentially spreading the disease. That's all we need to know. Getting rid of them will help save people. Just taking this somewhere where there's a high population of people only increases the chance of it spreading. All the while, he is going to... Yeah, okay. Yeah, he begins to cast a sacred flame on the bird, which you immediately watch kind of ruptures in this light green and olive-coloured flame, where you watch as small tendrils of kind of light greenish ichor and ooze begin to reach out before burning away as they set on fire and crumble. The blanket's untouched, if a little bit messy.
I give blanket back.
Yeah, that's gonna be taken for detoxification later.
If you want to just leave it here, I'll just burn that as well. You might as well just get a new blanket at this point.
Oh, my black. Fine.
Okay. And he burns the blanket as well.
That's something out of inventory.
Yep,
It's
destroy the
okay.
blanket out of your inventory, Infernal.
It's okay. I lost my shoes.
Oh, man.
It's a good session for keeping our items.
Oh, yeah, you're losing so much already. It's great. Okay. Okay. Is there anything that you wish to do before I move over to the last pair?
Besides for go back and wait for stupid
Yeah,
bird.
go back and wait for birds.
Okay, you go back and wait for bird. Go ahead and make me 2 more perception checks, please. Given that you're waiting for bird rather than looking for edible bird.
Oh,
The thrill of not getting a meal has set you off, Kay.
25.
As Kay, you're sat there. As you look at the iron bars, there's the temptation to otherwise try and break your way in, knowing full well you can climb over this fence now. You just kind of sit there, looking at the guard again, kind of eerily waiting. Now, no longer without a blanket, and without a bird as well. It's a sad day.
I should have just ate that.
Lloyd, on the other hand, it takes a while. About half an hour passes after this whole incident, and you see a bird otherwise land on one of the windowsills. You watch as about 5-10 minutes pass, and you watch as the window is opened and the bird is scooped up and taken inside.
Stupid bird.
Window is closed. You don't know. How long do you think you would like to wait before asking again? Actually, no, at this point, it's
5 or
probably
10
better
minutes?
to wait for them to come to you, given...
Yeah.
Yeah.
that-
Just
yeah,
go
no,
wait
that's
for
fair.
them to come.
Okay. How long do you wish to wait before it gets to a point of, okay, never mind?
15 minutes?
I think we should give it a little bit longer than that.
Alright,
I
20
was thinking
minutes.
like 30. 30 minutes and we're out.
Okay.
I'm gonna get hungry by then.
Okay. Given your meal
And I'm
was
not
stolen
eating
from
my
you.
carrot.
You're not eating your carrot. Okay. Good to know. Okay. While the two of you wait, we move over to Cat and Damian. The two of you are otherwise wandering through the street, south of the hospice, notably. You have the Plague Knight otherwise with you, as he otherwise leads you southward. He first of all kind of points out the burnt building to the just kind of to the direct west of the entrance of the hospice, and you can see what used to be an old building is just now 4 wooden supports that are charred black, with the roof where it's collapsed inwards, and the base stone foundation has been charred and turned to almost an ashy colour and burned from whatever fire was used. Surrounding buildings seem to have smoke marks marking their roofs and the walls of the exterior to them, while there is a mess, shall we say, to the surrounding grass and mud, which is scarred and marked with black patches. The guard leads you on to the next one, unless you wish to linger.
No.
No,
It was a more recent burning. And there's trees by it.
A more
That
recent
helps
one.
narrow it down.
That would either be the old brewery, that's the next one along the stop, or it would be one of the... Or it would be one of the residences more central to the city start, to the south of here.
I guess we checked the nearest first.
Yeah.
Was there just no trees?
There was just some trees, and it was a recent burning. That's all I can remember. I was reading letters at the time. No, I wasn't. I was just away with the fairies. Maybe I was. I don't know. No, but yeah, that's all I've got off the top of my head. Apparently, we go past a wall, or go near a wall, and then there's trees and a recently burnt building.
Right.
South of where we were.
Right here. Was that with trees or without trees, for his clarification? With trees. Okay. You otherwise are led over to the next building, where you otherwise see what looks to be a rather large warehouse-looking building. The majority of it has collapsed in wood, same as the prior one, with all of the wood paneling charred black or turned to ash and charcoal, with sections of the stone below, again, also marked black and charred from the burning, it would seem. Nearby buildings seem to be less harmed than the previous building, it would seem. But you can see the brewery is also more isolated. Old metallic instruments and, should we say, skeletal forms jut out of the old machinery that used to exist in here. The various vats and other implements that may have been used, most of them charred and destroyed, with the larger metallic structures still living, shall we say, within this skeleton of a building.
Okay. I mean, that's all I've got to go off of, so it's either we go knocking on everyone's door. I'm not used to doing this. I don't know how to find people in buildings. Normally people show me where people are. Okay. I mean, I guess we could knock on one of the locals. They might know.
We could ask. They would surely know if
Who lives
any
in
of
the
the
local vicinity, at least, yeah.
neighbours have a daughter called Elia.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's go to one of the houses then that looks occupied.
Okay. You go to one of the nearby houses. You see kind of a older, tarnished building. Given the particular area that it is, it's kind of a not mouldy paneling, but not well kept wooden paneling for the exterior. Treating has begun to fade. The building looks old, maybe one of the original buildings. You're not sure. But you can see kind of a light porch, just a single domain for maybe one, maybe two people with a squeeze. You otherwise go up, just kind of lightly knock on the door. There's a moment of pause before the door is lightly opened to you two and the Plague Knight. Otherwise, the facial form of someone rather short peers out.
Can I help you?
Hey, how much do you know about the local area or the people in the area? This little area here, where we are.
Not too much. I know my
Okay.
neighbors.
Do you know if anyone has a daughter named Elia around here?
Can't say I do. Why? Should I
We're
be
trying
watching
to...
out for them?
No, we're just trying to locate someone, but we kind of missed some information in regards to the location, so we're just trying to find it.
Right.
No worries.
Okay. The door closes.
Okay. Well, I guess she doesn't know, so maybe on to the next place?
I
Or we can try-
suppose, yes. Go to the other option that the Plague Knight has suggested.
Okay.
You would guide us, good sir.
Okay. Heading on to the next one. You head further south and you see what looks to be another building, otherwise burned. This one in particular, as you otherwise get a look at it, seems to be a bit, again, more residential, but you see that it was otherwise a two-story. And you can see that within the remnants of it, you can still see kind of light smoke trails rising from the actual wreckage of this old building.
This seems quite freshly burned.
This one was
If there's
burned
a-
2 days ago. We haven't had any rain and there's still smouldering fires in there, so don't go digging around.
Do you know if there's been any buildings burnt since then?
Not since this one, no.
I think, Cap, you might have found a place, but it's one of the neighbouring properties. We need to knock on the door.
Yeah, okay. So I guess go and look for. Well, let's just go to the nearest inhabited one and try this again then.
Yes, I think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Excellent.
You head over to nearest building. Go ahead and roll me a d8.
Location D8.
Either.
that one.
Yeah.
A red one.
Yeah.
Okay. 4. Okay. Okay. Going over to one of the nearby buildings with the kind of direct adjacency to this as part of the little circle of these, or little block of these particular buildings. You travel over, knock on the door of the nearby abode, Damian, with you taking the lead this time. You see what looks to be a shutter to the front of the door is pulled open, revealing like a basic glass paneling window. This is otherwise pulled open from the inside, and you see what looks to be a snout otherwise looking out of the glass, some form of dragonborn, it would seem. The colour is hard to tell, given how they're on the interior of this and you're on the exterior. There's kind of a moment and a pause as the door is pulled more open with your presence. Hi. What do I owe the pleasure of a knight come into my door?
Hello, good. Hang on, is this a male or a female?
It's a male. It's a male. Yeah.
Hello, good sir.
Hi.
I was wondering if you know anybody in the local area who may have a daughter called Elia.
Across the road, second building on your left.
Many thanks.
Yes. I should have asked this before. Why?
We're just trying to locate them and so we can have a chat.
The Dragonborn kind of steps a little bit more into the light, and you can see what looks to be kind of a paler blue coloration of almost a cyan or light sky blue coloration of Dragonborn, kind of an older age to them, kind of looking out at you all. Well, do give my condolences in such case to Denny. She's lost a lot.
It's Denny's the mother?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Do give her condolences. Name's Rex, by the way.
We shall do so, Rex.
Thank you. Do give her my condolences. We're not talking at the moment, given everything. We're giving her space, but if you've got business to take care of, please be gentle.
That's the intention.
Kind of looks at the plague knight and just kind of goes, "Right then. Stay safe." Closes the door.
Okay. Right, so we have the house. Is it just me, or I'm really nervous about this? Phew. Okay.
I haven't done this in a long while, but
I've never done this. Especially when it involves around death.
Well, it's never easy, but it's something that has to be done.
Okay.
Okay. Right. Let's do this then. Let's get this. Sooner we get this done, hopefully we can bring some peace to this family.
Okay. Who's knocking on the door?
I guess I'll knock on the door.
Okay.
Got a knight just casually standing behind, just like, I'm not looking at anything, honestly.
The plague knight's going to stand to one side, given this current situation, and now that you've found your location. He stands to one side. You otherwise knock on the door. There's a pause, and doesn't seem to be any answer.
Everything okay, Cat?
No one seems to be answering. When was the last time they were checked on?
You turn to the plague knight.
Mm-hmm.
He shrugs. Can't say I know. That's abbot business.
I will knock again.
Okay. You knock again, and you hear the sound of movement from within, sound of footsteps. Before you see, and I'll say, Damian, you spot this with given your passive perception, you see someone pull back a curtain from the interior of what looks to be the front room of some form, looking out and seeing you two knocking on the door.
There's somebody in there.
All right.
They've just had a little look through the curtains.
Okay.
Perhaps. Sort of motions towards the window.
As you motion towards the window, the curtain quickly shuts, and the form disappears.
Okay. I will. I don't want to scream out loud so everyone can hear. I'll just get close to the door. I'll just talk. Denny, can we have a chat, please? We really want to bring some closure to this, and we're only here to help.
Go ahead and roll me a persuasion check.
Persuasion. Persuasion, that's 2, so that's 10. Persuasion, right? Yeah.
Yeah. There's a pause as you otherwise speak to the door. Doesn't seem to be any initial answer. Before you hear a form come to the door, and there's kind of a dragging of something. Before you hear the sound of a lock turning, further dragging, and then you see the door open. And before you, you see what looks to be a relatively young, probably still single digits, a young human girl with what looks to be kind of a ear-length brown hair, currently wearing what looks to be just a pullover of some form of dress and pullover just in place, wrapped up to a certain degree. You can see portions of her neck and jaw otherwise have what looks to be a slight reddish nature to them. But you otherwise see what looks to be a young individual.
Hey, you must be Elia, I assume.
And who are you?
Hi, my name's Kat. And this is Damian. I nearly went Romulus then. Oh, God.
It looks like... Do I look like a Minotaur?
You haven't come to take Mum away
You
too.
We've come to take no one away, I promise. Is your mum here?
She slowly nods.
Whereabouts?
She's resting.
Oh. Okay. Difficult because I don't want to just interrogate a child without the parents' consent. Would it be possible to get your mum?
She pauses for a moment before the door is closed. You hear a little bit of shuffling from inside. You wait a few minutes. The door is opened. Mum doesn't want to talk at the moment.
Okay. Good look at Damian. What do I do?
We're gonna have to ask her. Just have to be gentle about it.
Okay, I'm gonna get as low down as I fix it can. Just have very open body language and.
Okay.
come across thing. You mind if I ask you a couple of questions? If you don't want to answer them, by all means, I respect that. You're in no danger. We are not taking you anywhere. And as soon as we've asked them, we will leave.
She silently nods.
Okay. Do you remember where you were playing on that day?
She pauses. On what day?
The day when you went north, out of the city or out of the town, and you and your companions all went and played. Do you remember where it was?
We just went past the tower. Not far. Maybe a minute or two past. We were just throwing a ball around and... She kind of pauses. Sinks into herself somewhat before going silent.
Okay. No, that's okay. That's absolutely no problem. Thank you for that. Thank you. Did you see anyone else out there other than you lot? Strangers or animals? Squirrels, maybe?
She pauses for the moment, attempting to think back, kind of very much recollecting, it would seem. Opening up memories that maybe have been repressed. I'll say with your passive insight, you can tell that it's hurting, but she's trying. I'll say this is both of you pick this up. Even with your low insight, you can pick this up. She pauses for a moment before saying, "No one strange. A new friend, but no one strange."
A new friend? Did they come back with you?
No, they had family outside.
Okay. Do you know what they look like so I can go and make sure they're safe as well?
Roll again. Okay. At this point, as she otherwise goes and attempts to describe, there seems to be a block of some form. Seemingly a natural defense at this point has kicked in, and you can see she's beginning to be very shaken by this.
Okay, that's not a problem. Thank you very much for at least answering what you can. I promise we will not come back, and I'm going to go and see and make sure your other friend is okay as well. I'm going to offer up a hug.
She doesn't
making
take
sure
it.
Cychania isn't poking out, because that would be quite creepy.
She doesn't take it.
No worries. Okay.
She steps back.
Well, you stay safe. Thank you. And I will close the door.
Okay. She closes the door. Okay.
Okay. Well, we have something. There's a new friend that lives out there. New friend. I don't know. Hang on. Let's head off. We'll talk.
Where
So-
should we head towards?
I guess we should head back to where we came from, meet up with everyone else.
Meet towards the hospice. Go back north.
Interesting. So there was someone else out there. And they were playing with a ball.
So this has come from outside the city.
I'm gonna guess so.
Would make sense anyway, because it must have had. Surely you would have thought an outside source. Who on earth? A new friend? Somebody outside the city?
Right, family outside the
So,
city. We haven't
is,
got anything else to go off of, but
is this people who are traveling in? Could this be people who are traveling past? Are they people perhaps in the sort of outskirt?
I have no idea. Do you reckon the town would keep logs of people who are coming in and out of the town?
You would, yes, because this happened with us when we entered the city ourselves. We had to.
Yeah, but that's since the quarantine's been put into effect.
Ah,
This would have happened before any of this kicked off. Um,
most
well,
likely not. But we could always check the town hall, because I would suspect they would keep records of any such thing like that.
it's something to bring up, but
We could certainly
this
ask the hen abbot. Yes.
exactly this could lead to a potential start or source.
We know roughly when it began.
And the rough location of where they played. So I'd
You
probably say
min-
let's go and investigate.
We could always visit the area where they played. We know now roughly where it was, so that's a possibility.
Hmm
If
How
we
far
choose
away
to.
is it?
Uh,
How far would I, after seeing the map and how that is, and when we got back to the place, how far away would that be?
it'll
A
be
minute or two from
maybe
the tower.
about right at the edge of the map.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm just trying to work out. Can I send my familiar that direction?
If you were at the edge of the wall, you could. You
Okay.
wouldn't have to leave the city if you want to send your familiar out. Your familiar would then be able to fly out and have a look around, but you'd still be looking at. How far is the telepathic range? I believe it's 100 feet.
It doesn't actually say the distance. Hang on. Let me find.
I believe we're fine familiar with the way we ruled it for Queglod, was that you're able to look through and hear what the familiar sees and hears, regardless of distance. But if it breaches the range of telepathy, which I believe is either 100 feet or 300 feet, you then can't send messages, so it will do whatever its task is and then come back to a point where it can then hear you.
Okay.
So that means that if you see something on your
right.
first pass, you then can't go back and investigate it so easily. You then have to re-find whatever it is and then investigate it.
Okay. Then, depending on how long, because we've not going to have been for very long, have we? It's just a quick
No.
run there. We weren't there. Shall we head up on the way up there? Shall we head up to the wall and I'll see if I can spot anything, i.e., any movement out that direction, any encampments, camps, people.
Head up towards the north gate.
I'll send my familiar out.
Yes, we could have a walk up to the north gate. I think that should be fine.
I can take you to the wall, but I can't take you outside.
We don't need to head outside. We can do it from the sanctuary of the wall.
Right. Okay. Traveling through the city, going up through the thoroughfare to the northern exit of the town. You otherwise arrive with the guard there. You can see the inn where people are currently being taken stock of, either being sent in for personal waiting or checking over. As you otherwise arrive near the gate, the guard kind of stands there. A few other Plague Knights kind of note your arrival. You're sending your familiar out?
Yep, I'll send Jeff out.
Okay. You reach just behind your hood, pulling out the crystal parrot and throwing it into the air. The Plague Knight who's with you recognizes it, it would seem, as it then flies out and off into the distance. Go ahead and make me a perception check using sight and Jeff's perception for anything that you might be able to spot from up high.
Okay. That is +3, so that's 9.
9. Jeff gives a good look around. There's nothing out of the ordinary. There's grass, there's the tower, about a minute or two's journey worth north. There's nothing that stands out. There's like areas around where you see rocks and twigs, you see areas for jumping and climbing, for sitting and chatting, for kind of clear areas for throwing a ball around. Nothing that stands out. It's not a regularly used spot by any means. It doesn't seem to have anything thing that stands out. Looks fairly untouched.
Okay. But I've managed to locate somewhere that would be a decent place to play throw and catch with your friends.
Yeah, it would be a decent playground for kids, and it's safe with
Okay.
outside of the walls within tower viewing range. So it's probably somewhere that they've maybe passed down through family.
Okay. Right. Well, I assume Jeff is gonna. Well, I'll see this. I think I've located where they could have been playing. If we want to go and investigate it later with the
You
party.
seen anything out of the ordinary there?
Didn't see anything. Everything kind of looked normal. I didn't see any other people or anything like that. But depending on how long ago, it could have gone away. They could have fled. Could have. Anything could have actually happened. So all I can think is head over there and do a more thorough investigation.
That might be difficult, given that we're not allowed to leave the city's walls.
That much is true, but if we go back and clarify what we found, maybe we'll be given some resentment.
Yeah. I suppose we can inquire if that might be possible. We could get special dispensation or something.
Okay. All right. Let's head back then. And
Before we go, I just wish to just ask a question of the guards at this gate.
Okay.
So I wander over to one of the guards, who's
Ye-
probably sort of like
There are
taking notes of who's coming in.
two different kinds of guards here. You see what looks to be plague knights, who are wearing kind of the typical, as you know, kind of the darker chain, the olive tunic, and the olive coloured tunic, and typically maces and the plague mask. Whereas you see, alternative to that, what you would recognise as the regular guard are flamekeepers, wearing kind of a shinier chainmail with kind of bright coloured pauldrons and what looks to be feathers coming out the top of their helmets, with what looks to be orange pieces of fabric hanging from the underlining of the pauldron on the right arm. They seem to be carrying more well-presented weapons, ones like halberds and spears with shields.
Okay, I think it was a plague knight, if I remember correctly, who sort of greeted us when we entered the city originally, Lloyd and I. So I'd probably approach a plague knight.
Okay.
I assume that you've been taking note of people who have been entering through this gate?
Yep, we got it all written down. Who you are, why you're entering, when you're going to leave, encounters, various conditions on leaving and entering, address, destinations they're in.
Have
Why'd you ask?
any fellow knights like me arrived recently?
Can't say that we had any, no.
Okay.
Yep, actually. There was one. Yeah, she came from the north. She arrived today. Traveling with the supplies caravan. She had to be checked in and deal with some more bits and pieces.
With the suppliers caravan?
Yeah, the ones that were delivering supplies to the hospice.
Oh. Did they by chance arrive with a red tiefling and a short fellow with a mask on?
Can't say I noticed the red tiefling, but they were with the caravan. They were documented beforehand.
So this female knight arrived after.
Shortly after, yeah.
Um.
She wasn't documented on the original arrival of the caravan, but was on their entry.
What did she look like?
Let's see here. Here we go. Lady Dellen. Fair of hair, small of frame, halfling. Wore shorter armor. argent crest on her chest, and several books lining her belt.
Not a name that rings a bell.
No,
but
definitely not.
Certainly recognise the coat of arms or.
Yeah, Order of Silver, definitely, from what you would recognise.
Yes.
Given the attire, she's probably, whoever this character is more likely a cleric over a paladin. So someone who's more aided in the form of healing.
Okay. Many thanks.
She did leave one note saying that there were more on the way, if that's relevant, but...
He didn't say how far behind they may be.
No. She said that there was something to do with not getting the numbers or something.
Did she say where her destination was in the city? In town?
She said she was heading straight to the hospice. She said she was needed there. She was going to be otherwise acquiring accommodation afterwards.
Many thanks. That's very helpful. Thank you for your time.
Stay safe.
And you.
The Plague Knight otherwise nods at the other Plague Knight, and you're otherwise allowed to return to the hospice. Okay. Vinny and Romulus, back to you. As the two of you are otherwise led out of the city, out of the southern gates, you pass by what looks to be a rather large and strange building on the way out. A tall building, slightly crooked to a certain degree. On your right as you otherwise leave, opposite what looks to be various traders and artisan stations and kind of just general carpentry, masonry, maintenance and building guilds of some form, right near the entrance with various other stockyards and caravan ports. The tall building is called the Welcoming Corn and seems to, or Welcoming Ear, sorry, has what looks to be a ear of corn or ear of wheat that otherwise is its main symbol of whatever this inn or tavern may be. You pass by the garrison, it's adjacent to the gate, and you otherwise leave out of the gate, past the Plague Knights and past the Flame Keepers, who otherwise do note your exit, noting with it, and going with the other Plague Knights as you otherwise head west of town. You head round past what looks to be some old farm buildings where individuals are currently working with various horses, and what looks to be a rather large and otherwise more newly built brewery of some form. You pass by it, and in the distance, the two of you see what looks to be a graveyard of forms. The ground around is otherwise more yellowish in tinge, otherwise dry and old trees grow up in this area leafless entirely. You can see what look to be hanging from the trees themselves small parchments of paper, each of which is inscribed with almost tiny black writing, sigils or scripts of some form. And in the centre of this graveyard, what looks to be a stone building, a shrine of some form, red-tiled roof, and what looks to be the symbol of a raven on the door of it. You see standing at the base of the stairs of this structure what looks to be a otherwise relatively lithe form, completely cloaked in almost mourner's clothing. A kind of a long black robe, ornamental black feathers wrapping around the neck and collar, with what looks to be a veil otherwise covering the majority of whatever facial features may be underneath. The only thing that you do note is that the veil is otherwise protruding forward, suggesting a snout of some form. The form is, however, relatively small for such Dragonborn.
Oh shit, it's a kobold.
Not that small.
A drobold? A half-born? No. Okay, you know what? I can't be fucked to come up with more names. I've got a headache.
Okay.
So,
You otherwise... Ooh. You say greetings. The form
I mean...
slowly nods. The Plague Knights otherwise approach, silently say nothing, but gesture for the bodies to be removed.
Then we shall remove them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Vinny knows precious little about religious customs. But if people are being deliberately quiet here, then I'm not going to try to disturb that. So,
Okay.
for the moment, I'm not saying anything.
Can I make a wisdom check?
Go ahead. Oh, wrong side of the board.
Okay, it's above a 10. I too will be somber and appropriate.
Okay. As each of the bodies are pulled off, you lay them on the ground in front, and you watch as the form steps forward, and reaching from underneath the robe, you see what looks to be a feathered hand of kind of deep black feathers, hooked claws, but on a human hand. As it otherwise kneels down and reaches out, and as it places its hand over the top, you watch as each of the packaging, or each of these wrapped bodies, the outside fabric goes from the dull, kind of greyish, tarnished white to a deep black, before you watch as they crumple inwards, and small bits of smoke begin to rise up from it. You see, within the smoke, I would like each of you to roll me a charisma check, I'll say, for this.
Yes, I'm so good at those.
You never know.
Yeah, I suppose you never do. Leroy Jenkins. Oh, it's very average. Charisma check or save?
Check.
-1, so 9.
9.
+3, so 9.
Okay.
Ha!
The two of you watch. You don't understand the significance of it, nor do you understand or see anything out of the ordinary or feel anything out of the ordinary. It's strange. That is all. Each of the bodies is brought to, and the wrappings are... You watch as this form otherwise goes over and bundles up the wrappings and takes them over to freshly dug graves, placing them inside before beginning to slowly shift earth, manually with a shovel. The guards, or the Plague Knights, otherwise nod, gesture for you to get back on the cart with a simple kind of head nod, and you leave, unless there's anything you wish to do.
Just immediately start desecrating all the graves.
In typical Romulus fashion, oh, I can turn this one into a bag.
I was actually going to say a satchel, but yes.
Satchel bag.
Meanwhile,
what's-
somewhere in the town, Cat is almost wanting to scream. No idea why.
I sense fuckery.
Okay. You head back into the city, or the town, otherwise arriving back at the hospice not too long afterwards. The process is lengthy, but it happens. As you otherwise arrive back at the hospice in your own time. Okay. Kay and Lloyd. Are you there?
I'm here.
Lloyd? Infernal's muted. Are you here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. As the two of you are otherwise sat out the side of the gate waiting, you stare, you watch as the door opens, and you watch as a older female human otherwise kind of wanders up to the gate, what looks to be a set of keys, unlocks it, and goes,
We've been expecting you. Apologies for the wait. Please do come in.
No problem.
leads the two of you forward. You otherwise reach the guard, who gives you just stares for the two of you.
Kick him in the dick.
You're not there. You
Pray for his soul.
pray for his soul. Make me a D100 roll, see how that goes.
Is he going to get smitten today?
Maybe.
Wow. Okay.
Maybe. Okay.
31.
You head inside of the otherwise large building, or more specifically, the mayor's house. The interior of the abode is otherwise extravagant. There is an open staircase opposite the main door where you enter that splits to the lower landing and then rises again to meet the first floor of this otherwise three-tiered manor. The floor is otherwise
Capitalism.
Hmm?
Fucking capitalism.
The floor is lined with a well-kept carpet, and several standing armors and decorative pieces of art flush the foyer with richness and wealth. You otherwise have a general look around. The older lady seems to kind of lead you in, and you can see that the house guards of whoever they may be, the one who you otherwise met at the gate who told you to get lost, otherwise stands there in mild awkwardness. If you do follow me, I'll lead you to the master's study, and you may talk there about plans.
No problem. Guess we'll follow her up.
Okay. You otherwise travel up the stairs to the first floor of this particular abode. First floor of the manor is otherwise seems to be more pleasant in its design. And you can see what looks to be a number of doors and areas which lead off to various rooms in different designs, some numbered, some not. As you otherwise arrive at one, a interestingly immaculate door, kind of a gold rim to it to a certain degree, as there is a knock on the door before the handle is turned and opened inwards, and the immediate smell of what smells like fresh baked goods, along with the smell of tea and otherwise herbal drink, meets the two of you.
Ew.
Ew.
Ah.
Ew.
You mean you don't like fresh baked goods?
Tea.
E.
Oh no.
Smells horrible.
Smells good.
Cat and Kay are gonna get on fire.
You what, mate? What you say about tea?
Oh my god. My inner British is burning right now.
Should get that checked out. Okay.
Might have a medical condition there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Actually, hold on. Who does he get that checked out by? Psychiatrist or a doctor?
The tea surgeon.
Tea surgeon. Yeah. They just brew a kettle and then pump it straight into his veins via IV drip. All right.
Exactly.
As you otherwise step into the study, you see that the study itself is fairly welcoming. A desk against the back wall otherwise seems to be lined with various papers, a chair, and you can see that around a otherwise open fireplace for this otherwise first floor, in otherwise a half before you, you see what looks to be a number of chairs, small chairs, kind of sofa cushioned in various manner. A small tea table is placed out, or coffee table is placed out in just in front of the fire. And you can see on a small stand next to it is a small stack of books where sat in this particular chair is what looks to be a individual in his later 40s, reaching his earlier 50s, a male human of fair skin and even fairer hair. Even if it is thinning in places, it would seem. He wears a burnt orange waistcoat over the top of what looks to be a frilled white silk undershirt, regal black tie, and wearing a similarly creamy pair of trousers. His face is kept looking young, and as such doesn't show much of his age, but Lloyd, you've seen people try to do this before, when you've come from. Cosmetics only go so far.
Mhm.
He otherwise sits there, seeing the two of you enter, and goes, "Ah, you must be the people I am expecting. Please do, come in. You are after the plans for the sewers, yes? The storm siphon, and more specifically the areas around where? The letter suggested that you were looking for the plans of all of the sewers, correct?
Yes, if those are still around.
Not all of them. We have the ones for the main storm siphon, as it does need to be cleaned every now and then, but the gate itself has been sealed shut for the time being. I believe we have a key for the nature of it, but the bars were rusted last time I had checked. Usually they have to break it off and then just put it back in place every time it gets cleaned. Maybe once every 2 years.
When was the last time they went in there?
Maybe about a year ago, I'd have to say. I'd have to check my books and notes, but most of it is kept by the actual cleaning and construction yard.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you can give us any of those plans, that will be useful if we do go down there.
I can in other ways show the main locations for all of that stuff. There are a few entrances around town, and they are what is noted, but the original floor plan and how it is built is otherwise no longer in use, so a lot of the plans are gone. But I have managed to find some details that might interest you.
Yes, anything is useful.
Okay.
Has the new area in town also been connected to them, or...?
Still affected by snap and grid.
Did you catch the last part?
Has the new area in town been affected by it?
Yeah.
There was an entrance that led to the storm siphon, yes. But the storm siphon is more just for the draining of excess liquid in the actual cityscape itself. I mean, the city expanding, the water during the heavy rainy seasons needs to drain somewhere. So we have a few entrances, but they aren't publicly accessed. They're sealed off and with new grates compared to the old ones, so they're covered, shall we say.
Because from what we've seen, the attacks haven't gotten to the new area yet.
Oops, wrong button.
The blue ones are the entrances?
Mm-hmm. Wait, no, not there. Sorry. That is that one. And the last one is located...
I was close. I guess here.
Oh, and there
And
is
my guess was here.
and there is a main access port in the construction yard
Okay.
as well.
So where's the main open? The first one that was built?
The main opening, the first one that was built, is further off this direction.
Okay.
That one is a older one. It's near where the city was first built, near the various houses there. There's one further to the north of it, which is used to be tapped in more accurately to the nearby taverns before they were changed, and also more accurately tapped into the brewery, which used to be there, but that has since changed as well. And if I remember correctly from the reports, it's since been burnt down, so something to keep in mind. Other than that, there are a number of ports around the town, around Trenlaw's Rest, but most of them are not used by any means. The construction yard is the one that handles all of them. They're all interconnected in a grid-style fashion. You'll find a few drop-downs here or there where they otherwise reach sinks, but outside of that, there's nothing you need to worry about that would be out of the ordinary. So, for reference, it's a general skewed grid pattern. So each of them generally is connected to another via some form of duct and interworking system, effectively.
I see.
Yeah, most of them line up with one another in like one straight line, roughly. My placements are a little bit off in places, but yeah, most of them line up. Yeah, that one, for example, was slightly off because that one at the top should be slightly further across here.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
yeah,
I see. That is useful to know. Since they could probably be using those to get in and out.
the general port on where this all drains to, it doesn't really drain anywhere. It goes to various
what I believe are called sinks, or let's see if you know what they're called. Nope. They're just called sinks, from what I understand. Areas or pits that would, where it would used to all go when the city was rather, or when the town was rather small. But since it's grown and the introduction of convenience crystals, there's been little need for it, outside of the occasional draining of storms.
Hmm.
And you said none of the plans are still.
They're not within my care. I've asked for one of my librarian to have a look around my personal collection, and I can't seem to find anything. If there is anything, it might be at the town hall, but it's unlikely if it's not within my own collection. That, or
You
it
said-
might be worth contacting the construction guilds, but they're unlikely to help you on this matter. Reminding them of a duty that they've got in the next few years will only make them angrier at you.
Well, would they not be helped?
They don't want to have to send anybody down there anytime soon, and with everything that's going on, they're already under enough pressure watching their buildings be burned.
We wouldn't want any of them going down. We just want to know if they have any of the plans still.
They're still not in a good mood, but I'll leave that decision up to you. If that's all,
I guess I should give you a warning. You might want to have your guards patrol your manor. Yeah, that's.
I see. Any reason or inclination?
While waiting, I found birds in one of your trees that had slime inside of it.
Ah, yes.
I'll get them onto that.
Yeah, we're not sure how the slime got to the birds, but if they're carrying it, it could go anywhere.
So long as it was burned and killed, I don't mind. But I'll let my guards know that there's some extra work for them to do.
Well,
Jay's a bit happier about that.
Okay.
Well, yep. Good here.
yes. Thank you very much for your time.
The otherwise nods.
We'll do our best to see if we can solve this.
Thank you. He smiles, and you watch as he otherwise kind of has the letter in hand, it would seem. As you otherwise turn and leave the door, you hear the sound of tearing paper.
Wow.
You
Meh.
are sent back out of the house and onto the street once again. Where do you head?
I don't mind making people angry. I'm going to the construction place.
Maybe we should go back with the others and go all together.
Well, am I going to have to make a battle map for you fighting construction workers? Trust me, you won't win.
try.
Not at
We
second
might
level.
need some backup there, Kay.
New party name, Union Busters.
Oh no.
Better not jump into any French people. They'll get really annoyed.
Oh wow.
Oh no.
Viva la revolution.
Okay. Okay. So, heading back to the hospice then, or going to the construction yard?
I'm,
Meet up with the others.
Okay.
I'd rather have backup before we go there.
Okay. And I believe everybody would now be heading back to the hospice?
I believe so.
Probably.
If so.
Yeah.
Okay. You otherwise all arrive at the hospice, one after another, not necessarily within good timing of one another, but you all eventually make your way there. You otherwise see each other in their own groups, some of them more successful than others, some of them happier than others, it would seem.
Hello.
Ah.
Oh, hello.
Oh, hi. Hopefully other people had some degree of victories. Romulus, did you behave yourself?
I was a perfect gentleman.
Vinny, did Romulus behave himself?
Of course, he did very well.
Okay. I'm
Hmm.
proud of
Realize
you.
I'm older than both of you by, well, probably. How old are you, Vinny?
Quite a personal question.
Is it?
Should we say older than 30, younger than 40?
Oh, same.
Hmm.
High five.
I'll also join in on the high five.
Oh, nice.
I'm gonna mage hand that high five.
No, fuck off, child.
No,
Make me.
mage hand. I will chase him round with the mage hand. So, high five.
Okay.
Super mega team tired middle-aged dads go. No.
Well, anyway.
So,
we
any
had
of
a
you
good
find
one.
out anything?
Well,
Quite a lot.
carrying bodies is not fun.
You did
Were
seem
there
to be pretty
lots?
good at it, though.
Anything that involves carrying corpses or the remains of creatures, I'm somewhat competent at it. Lot of dragging deer back through the forest.
Ah, I know somewhere in the world where you'd fit right in.
Well, me and Kay went to the mayor. He gave us where all the openings are
Oh,
to
excellent.
the sewers, but he did not have any of the old plans.
Oh.
Do we know
We
how
have to go make people angry for that.
Yeah. He told
Wow.
us we could go speak to the construction guys. They might have some information, but they're not very happy at the moment.
Okay.
Okay.
So they might be a bit aggressive.
Well, let's not upset too many people. We're trying to help.
Did he
Well,
ever mention why? Just general stress to the.
Well, their buildings are
Or-
getting burnt down, and
Hmm.
apparently they're gonna have a lot of work.
Okay, fair.
Well,
Fair.
understandable, I guess, but there's certainly worse fates you could come up against.
Job security.
So the mayor
It's
actually.
still worth a shot going and asking.
it's if I remember correctly, they have way to get in there. Well,
Oh, wait,
Okay.
question mark?
that's what I thought they said.
You mean
What
the
he
key?
said. Yeah, they would have key, and they have the main
Oh yeah, the
thing to
main
get in.
entrance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have the main way in for maintenance, or the most
Yeah.
used way in for maintenance, and they also have the key, which allows them to unlock it. The rest of them are all, generally, from what you understand, fused shut.
Yeah.
Yeah. See?
Okay.
So if we do want to end up going down there, we'd have to go through them, or have used one of the offshoots.
Cat,
Lloyd,
Damian.
go through them? That's a bit violent.
When did
You know what I
manage
mean,
to
Damian.
ascertain what was the location of the child's encounter?
Oh, so to the north there is a tower. About 2 minutes north of that they were playing ball. Did come across
Is that
something.
this tower?
Yes, correct, that tower.
Yeah. Did come across something or find out something quite interesting.
Mm.
There was another person from outside the town.
Outside the city.
Mm.
Any?
Another friend. Couldn't get any information past that because you could see it was causing some perplexities. But they were all playing ball about 2 minutes north of the tower. I've sent my familiar out and I found where a potential location where that was happening. But yeah, they were all playing ball and they made a new friend up there who
Did she give any description?
didn't get a description, and I think it was being a bit too traumatic for her. But
So it was this new friend specifically that caused her to climb up.
And we were having a conversation, and I think it was when we were talking about what her and her friends were doing that it started, and then
Yeah.
the thought of having to concentrate on a new friend may have just pushed it a bit too far.
Could have just been the memory of her friends then.
Hmm,
It's difficult
Quite-
to know.
quite possible.
Mm.
But we have a rough location of where this.
Did you say if this new friend was involved in any way?
All we know is that the new friend was playing ball with them. If they were all
Mhm.
playing catch, and this was all transmitted via wrists, arms, and stuff,
He
could be
could have been
possible
carrying it
something was
then.
put on the ball.
It could.
Yeah, he could have been the one carrying it then.
Hmm.
I don't suppose she still happened to have the ball?
I
Or
didn't
mentioned
ask.
where it went?
It was very difficult because the mum wouldn't come to the door. She didn't
Was the
want
new
to talk.
person her age?
No, it's
or...
understandable.
I really didn't manage to get any further information. Just
Hmm.
that there was someone else there with them, and they were not from here.
Well, if
it
you've
would
got
have been.
an idea of the location, that's still useful.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I've seen it, and maybe a closer and more thorough investigation might turn up some answers.
Maybe, but not having any idea if we're looking for an adult or a kid.
I know I
I
couldn't get any
would-
more, and I
I
didn't
would-
want to dig.
Maybe an
There is
adult
something we know to
halfling.
look for.
I would suppose it would be a child, because I would be surprised if the new friend was not.
Hmm.
Given that all 8 of them were children as well. I may be wrong, but that would be my suspicion.
Well, if it
They're
was
in close proximity to the tower, so I'm sure the guards would have picked up if some strange man had just walked up to a couple of the kids. No.
Well, that's not
But-
true. I haven't been called a pervert in this city yet, so obviously they're not that that diligent.
I think people
there
would
something
be
we need
too
to know?
scared to come up to you.
Beg to differ.
well,
Kay
anyway,
is sitting here still trying to figure out what the word pervert means.
I'll
I wish
tell you
I
when you're
didn't
older.
know.
Well, if the child's not been talking until now, probably no one's investigated that area. So even though it's been a few weeks, we might be able to get something out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's the hope.
better
You want to go
Well,
check that out first, and then go
Then
to
the
the construction
sewers?
sites?
How are you going to get out the city when nobody would allow us out of the city?
I'm hoping to
Well,
try and talk.
we just went with a cart.
If
Or
can
we
catch
could
one of
ask
the
for
abbots,
permission.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of options. Asking for an exemption is one. Some sort of misdirection is another. Finding out when a group is leaving that way and just joining up with them, or just straight up breaking the quarantine.
Are there
If
any abbots
we-
around?
Okay. Are you outside the hospice or inside the hospice? Both have different people who could be listening.
I'd like to think we're inside, aren't we?
Okay, so it will be Tracy and Lizette. I'd like everyone to go
I'm
ahead and roll
probably
me stealth
rolling my
checks.
eyes at this question.
Okay.
Do I have to roll it even though I'm not talking?
I'm not rolling stealth check because
I will
I'm
say-
oblivious.
I will say
Ah,
that
well,
you,
shit,
I will
boys.
say that you will undo Damian's disadvantage on this because he's wearing heavy armor.
Well, it
Okay.
doesn't matter because I rolled a
Because you're
one
not
anyway.
talking, so Damian, just go ahead and roll. This is just a
Yeah, I
stealth
got a
check.
1 unnatural.
Hang on, what am I
Chris,
rolling?
may I?
Stealth.
Stealth. Oh, don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
Yep,
fine.
if I'm doing it with advantage
Did
or
you-
disadvantage? just
You're not.
normal.
Sudz isn't
Normal.
rolling because he's just because he's not talking, so it removes your disadvantage. We'll call it helping in this instance. And
No,
you-
so I'm just
My
rolling one
inspiration.
dice.
Oh, I
Yeah,
thought I
go
was
ahead.
rolling, so I rolled.
No, you weren't rolling it. It was just I was removing disadvantage.
There we go.
Hey, nice. Natural 20.
Alright, well, the most important part of the conversation was stealthy.
Yep.
Whatever I was saying, everyone heard.
And Romulus and Cat, what did you get?
I didn't roll stealthy because I'm not trying to be stealthy.
Okay.
I'm just
Uh,
blurting it out.
Automatic fail. Okay.
Is there any chance I can try and? Okay, I'm not even gonna.
This is a
try
stealth
full
check.
culture
This
here.
is
There's
simply...
not much I can do here.
Oh,
Natural.
here we go.
Okay.
Hey, can I
My
have
boy.
this be a
You know how
perception
sometimes you can
check?
see it coming before it happens.
Yeah. Okay. Go. Yeah. I'll allow that.
Just
Suds.
middle-aged
I was-
dads yelling at their
Yeah, I was gonna
children.
ask if I could have this be a perception check to see if I can find the one plague knight that was talking to us and wanted our help to find the thing
Go
before
ahead.
we went to go talk to the abbot.
Go ahead and roll me an insight check with disadvantage because they all look the same.
They don't all look the same. This one was a smaller one. That's all I got.
Yeah,
He's
but
the
they
one
all
that
look tall
didn't
to
have the
you.
carrot.
They all look tall to you though. That's pretty good.
You said insight?
Yeah.
Insight. That is a 20.
20. Ooh. 20? Is it? Oh yeah,
I
sorry, no,
got
I'm sorry, I'm
+4 to
looking
my
at your
insight.
sorry, I'm looking at your investigation, passive investigation. Yeah. Looking around looking around, you see the one plague knight you want, and while this conversation is happening, you just wander off and no one notices.
Yep.
Meanwhile, Romulus is talking very loudly about handkerchiefs, other things, and all manner of things, and it's distracting you, Cat. But also, you're talking relatively loudly. Vinny, on the other hand, is drowned out as his very sly and subtle comment on his conversation is otherwise hidden amongst the loud conversations in this hospice. Before you watch as Tracy comes over and just goes, "Can I help you all? You're all being very loud."
We
We need
uh,
permission to leave the city.
mhm,
Permanently or
just
temporarily?
Temporarily, we need
north.
to investigate something.
mhm.
How far?
2 minutes from the tower in the north. We potentially have found out there was someone else with that group of kids.
Someone else?
Hmm. Apparently, there was a new friend that was there. Did
From
anyone else
outside.
from outside? They were not part of the town.
You watch as she otherwise pauses for a moment. Hold on. I'll be right back.
No worries.
Why did we have to ask for permission? I was going to mention before she came across that Vinny and Kay, didn't your caravan go north out the city to sort of sit around? Couldn't you just pretend you were going to join them again?
Actually, wasn't it south?
No, they were heading north. They were going to go back home.
Oh.
South was where you guys wanted to head.
Don't worry, we'll get south eventually.
Okay, so we came in from the north and just came all the way down to here.
Yeah, correct. Because you came
Okay.
from Paloon's direction. You came south through here, down through the thoroughfare to there, and then you went back up the thoroughfare to get to the hospice.
Yeah, but that would require us to go back, and I don't want to do that just yet.
Okay.
I still haven't acquired cheese.
One day.
Didn't you give?
No. He didn't
Okay.
acquire cheese.
Oh,
So-
right. Has
so-
to hunt it.
Yeah.
Needs to be fresh.
I've nothing more scary than wild cheese. I was attacked once.
Look,
I lost.
the Gouda is running through the fields.
Get it. Okay, so. Okay, while you're waiting and otherwise having a conversation, Kay, you head over to that particular plague knight who you see is otherwise kind of just handling someone's dressings and otherwise kind of looks around just to see you. Yes. Kay, wasn't it?
Yes.
Come to help?
I was wondering, you said you wanted our help to, search with some other plague knights for the cause of this?
Not necessarily with, just if you were spare hands, we were going to put you on patrols, but you seem to be working with the head abbot to try and figure out the cause of this.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure, because I personally think there might be a very strong link with the sewers, and we were going to go down there. So, well, I want to go down there, so I was making sure you knew just in case.
That's fine. Sewers is usually a place where these sort of creatures would live. We just haven't been able to get into them. All of the gates seem to be fused shut, and there's not really much access we can work with. We know there was an old pipeline that was otherwise part of the old brewery, but we burned that down, and otherwise I think it's fused shut now thanks to the heat. The only other entrance is at the construction yard, so we ruled that out early on, given all the attacks were around the city and not coming from the construction yard. And again, if they are oozes, it's possible that they maybe come from the sewer grates if they can otherwise seep through various small gaps in the stonework.
Maybe. Also, I wanted to make sure you knew that there are possible oozes in birds.
In birds? As in being carried by, or you found a dead bird with an ooze in it?
It wasn't dead yet.
Huh.
It was sort of alive, but had ooze inside. We found it at the mayor's mansion.
That's worrying. Good to know, nonetheless. Good to know. You carry on.
Okay, and I go wandering back.
Okay. You wander back to the group, to which you see on the short arrival afterwards, you see Tracy otherwise return with what look to be a number of papers.
What paper?
Yes, if you're looking to... This is something that was mentioned by one of them, and I wrote it off as delusions, but I made notes of it nonetheless.
Okay.
They spoke of one of their group, a younger girl. Well, an older girl than them, but still a young girl, from what they said. They said she was somewhat short, seemed fairly noble in dress, small red ribbons, otherwise short blonde curls. Not someone I recognize or know. That was a description that one of them gave. It was while he was having a hallucination, mind. Another one spoke of someone else, but that was really all we got.
Okay. Well, that gives us something to go off of. Would you happen to know if there were any sort of nobles visiting or anyone passing by around that time?
I wouldn't know, no. It's not really my business for that sort of thing. Nor is it the head abbot's, really. The one who would usually deal with that, our physician, Lenning, he's unfortunately out of town at the moment handling a personal request by Lord Bevots, but he'd usually be the one who handles more private requests.
Okay. I know this is probably going to sound really strange because of the thing, but do you know if you actually claimed the ball that they were playing with? Any investigation potentially that may have led to that?
No.
Okay.
We didn't handle anything of that nature. We know that the Plague Knights did something when it originally broke out. And when they arrived, we know that there was... Due to their methods, we had to pick up a few pieces, shall we say. Not to their own fault, they were simply handling some things which took place, but... Some of the families lost family members, and some of them that had lost children had similarly lost other family members amongst them. Some of their possessions were taken and burned for purification reasons. Clothing is usually taken when that sort of thing happens, but nothing that I know of for a ball. and that sort of
Okay,
thing
'cause they-
probably wouldn't be recorded.
Okay, because they were playing ball, and it just seems. Well, I mean, it points to that is a potential source of the spread. If this one person was spreading it around, they all contracted it on their hands, wrists, or the original source was hands, wrists, and forearms, which could coincide with playing catch.
That is true. I can pay a visit in the next few days to otherwise remove the ball from their possession if it is still there. I do have a
you could,
house
that'd be
visit.
brilliant.
I do have a house visit to see her mother, as she has unfortunately fallen ill a second time.
Hi, baby.
But
Oh, we didn't manage to see. Didn't manage to catch Denny.
no,
She didn't want to come out.
no, she's fallen ill a second time, unfortunately. Whatever
The
this
same
is, that's
infection?
with the same infection, yes.
Oh.
If the ball is present there, that would potentially coincide with it, and it could still be an infectious source that needs to be dealt with. There doesn't seem to be a correlation between having it once and not getting it again. That's why it's stuck so heavily within the city at the moment.
Okay.
Well,
Then if you do get the ball, take precautions in case the contagion is actually on there.
We'll take precautions, don't worry.
Okay.
We have been receiving extra help thanks to the Knights of Paloon, as well as the otherwise Plague Knights getting involved, and I imagine if I informed them that there was an object of potential contamination, that they'd go with me and help.
Okay.
Has a knight arrived here at the hospice while we've been out?
Yes. Yes, you asked about being informed of her arrival. Lady Dellen. She's otherwise talking to the head abbot at the moment. Talking about where she can help most and otherwise handle herself.
Oh, I might say hello when she's finished speaking to the head abbot.
So, do we have permission to go out to check the place?
You'd have to ask the Plague Knights. If you went under a full body inspection, and I'd say all of you would have to, then it's possible that you might be allowed to leave. If it's only some of you that are leaving, then it's also possible, but
I mean, I think 3 of us already went from one, right?
you had a half inspection to make sure that your main arms and legs, your limbs, were not covered. But we need to check torso, we need to check other areas, we need to do a full inspection.
Any excuse to see the pretty boys naked. Okay, Tracy.
Are we
I'm
sure
with
it's actually a disease and not
Okay, hold on.
poison?
Okay. She gives you a glare.
Come on, don't make her mad.
She looks at you, gives you a glare, and goes, I've seen plenty of people naked in my line of work, and trust me, it's not pretty, regardless of what you may think, dear.
A very knightly comment of you, Damian.
Yeah. I don't understand what you've just said, but yeah.
Don't worry, don't worry.
That's right, we'll explain to you
You'll
when
learn,
you're
little
older.
Centaur. You'll learn.
So
And then
that's
there's Kay, just confused.
Kay's like, what?
okay. Well, I mean, I haven't been near anything to need a full body inspection. I've even been masked while we're here.
Well, I'm not undergoing one. Tracy's just insulted me.
I get the feeling that you kind of deserved it, though I don't understand why.
He deserved
Alright,
it.
I guess.
If you are
Okay.
looking to leave, a full body inspection can be done. I'll let the knights have fun. But they'll be the ones who will do the inspection. They'll do that near the tavern to the north if that's where you're planning to leave.
Okay.
Or not a tavern, an inn,
Nice.
sorry. But that's if you're
Yeah.
intending to leave, they'll do that. I also understand they use various screening methods as well outside of it, and it takes a few days to take place. So if you're in a rush, then it's not going to happen. But
What was the other way, other
Oh.
than that?
the other way is we could potentially organize some form of exemption, but that gets dicey.
Well,
Here's the
it's
thing.
faster than it's fine.
If you end up going outside the city and contracting it, or you otherwise attempt to leave, I can't guarantee the safety of any of you, even those who do follow the rules. This includes potentially you two, Kay and Vinny, leaving with your caravan. I know you already have exemption, but I also know that you'll need to go under a full-body examination after what's happened. It'll take a few days for it to kick in as well, given the two of you have already had to be checked. I don't think you'll be leaving anytime soon if you wanted to. You came in with the caravan, from what you said?
That's right.
Okay. I can try and get something screened through early for you two, but it's going to take a lot of work. If you want to leave. If you're not planning on leaving with your caravan or you want to see this through, then I can try and get some form of exemption from the head abbot, but it'll take extra work and he'll probably need to speak to the Plague Knights about it. It might take some time to organize, so if you have any other leads, it might be worth investigating them first.
We can check the sewer while you're trying to get the exemption sorted.
Hmm.
That is another plan we have.
I can also send a letter to Lenning, potentially. If he has any response or anything that he wishes to reply with, he can mention if there's anybody of that description of noble birth.
That would also be very useful. More information, the better we are equipped to try and deal with the situation, or understand it at least.
I can have the head abbot take care of that while you investigate on your side of things.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we can check out the sewers while you try and work on the exemption and get hold of your guy. That gives us... At least we now know what it is we're going to do first.
To the sewers.
Okay.
Okay, gets to irritate some construction workers.
Let's go get our asses kicked by some construction workers.
Yeah, I'm going to join them. I'll just stand there and clap.
And so, with the understanding of what the party intended to do, of going to the sewers today, and then didn't, the party is obviously very indecisive. But that's interesting. Just means that I need to get better at my titling. But for now, with the party now deciding what they're going to do next, is instead of going straight to the sewers and doing that, they are now going to go straight to the sewers next time. Hopefully, through the construction yard, after angering some very already angered dwarves, perhaps. We'll see. There'll be a session next time. Whether there'll be a session after that, we'll have to see. But thank you for watching, and hopefully you enjoyed. Bye-bye.
Bye.
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 Bye.